What is up, folks? Welcome in. This is JE Live, and we are back for another late night Q&A. And it's Tuesday, and I can't wait for for those of you who are following, um, you're watching Moon Knight. The premiere is at 3 a.m. in the morning Eastern time. Midnight your time, but or most of your times, but yeah, can't wait for that. Can't wait for a lot of things, honestly. You got the Multiverse of Madness coming out soon. I'll be going live tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern time on the call-in app, so I'm excited for that. We're going to have kind of the same thing, and have people call in and talk about the draft a little bit and what else comes with it, the different roles these guys will play. But really tonight, it's as simple as it gets. You guys ask questions, I'm going to highlight them, and we'll go from there. Hopefully the stream is looking
SWB
better
audio
than last
capture
time,
not
because
registered.
towards the end of that stream, I know it got crazy. So sorry about the lag during the draft stream. Really do apologize for that. But we are here now, and I'm getting the overlay ready so I can take your comments, and it should be some fun. Appreciate you subscribing to the channel. All right. Let's test this thing out. Okay, there we go. Let's move that. We'll move that here. Make it a little bit bigger. All right. So there we go. Let's go is right. Live stream time. All right, maybe put that down a little bit more. What's up? How's it going? Pineapples, what's up? What's up, HD? Yeah, that's definitely good. What's up, Jack? I remember before free agency started, you said you wanted the Rams to sign Cordell Patterson. Looking back on it, would you rather him or Allen Robinson? I think that's a really good question. I'll just start off by saying, I think Cordell Patterson is kind of a different skill set than Allen Robinson. Um, I would easily say Allen Robinson, but I definitely think it's somewhat of an interesting proposition, because you have a guy that you're kind of emulating the way Deebo Samuel's utilized over in San Francisco. But if you get Allen Robinson, you're also adding something to your offense that you didn't have previously. So they're both elements to your offense you haven't had. So there's definitely an argument there. But I would go with Allen Robinson because, this guy, I don't think he's being talked about enough. And I'll be honest with you, despite the fact the Rams won the Super Bowl, I still feel like they get underrated. It's really strange, because if Allen Robinson went to,
SWB
say,
audio capture
the
not
Patriots or
registered.
something, or the Dallas Cowboys especially, I think Allen Robinson would have gotten a lot more run in the media. I think he would have been talked about a lot more. He goes to the Rams, and everyone's kind of like, yeah. But it's like, this is a 1,400 yard receiver, caliber receiver. He's got a fantastic quarterback for the first time in his career. It's going to be interesting, because Allen Robinson could seriously blow up this year. I think his issue has been injuries. His issue has been lack of quarterback talent. I think Justin Fields is the most talented quarterback he had, and I just feel like last year was a down year. So, yeah, if Allen Robinson went to the Packers, I think to me it would be all over him as well. I agree with you, HD. So, yeah, to answer your question, back to Jack, I'm going to take Allen Robinson, but I don't think it's as clear-cut as you would expect, because Cordell Patterson is a hell of a player, and the Falcons are back there, so that's worth mentioning. There. Oh, you're hearing noise. All right. Let's see here. I don't know why that's repeating. That's not even on. That's really strange. Oh, I know why. Okay, there we go. Makes sense. Thank you for letting me know. It's so frustrating when that happens. Oh, I hate that thing. The audio capture when you have guests on, it's great, but it's incredibly annoying, and it takes a lot to set up. What's up, Dominic? Hey, Jake, what are your thoughts about the Rams signing tight end Jamal Pettigrew? I didn't know they signed Jamal Pettigrew. When did that happen? Or are you saying they should sign Jamal Pettigrew? Huh. I'm going to check right now because I genuinely don't know who that is. Okay, Jamal Pettigrew. Ooh, fantastic RAS score from Louisiana State. Let's see. 6'6", 244, like it. 6'7", or 4'7", 4'6'7". A 9.3 RAS. He's the third highest RAS tight end in 2022, mainly because Jelani Woods is an alien. He had a 10 out of 10. The 64th most athletic tight end since 1987. Oh, that's very, very intriguing. That's very intriguing. Wow. I like that. Yeah. Damn. I didn't know he was with the Rams. Oh, part 4 of the Rams UDFAs. He got signed. Benton Whitley, the defensive lineman from Holy Cross. Dion Noville, defensive tackle from North Texas. And TJ Carter, who I definitely know, is the DB from TCU. So that is intriguing there. Yeah, my thoughts, I'll be real. My thoughts on him are that I think this guy has a really good set of athletic traits. You talk about his 91 percentile vertical, his 86 percentile 10-yard split. He doesn't have composite agility grades. He did not have the shuttle or 3-cone, so that's worth mentioning, but he ran a 4.6. Yeah, I think when you have those, athletic skills, it's definitely something to consider. So, congrats to him, obviously. That's huge. Congrats to the other guys I mentioned. It's been a little quiet on the UDFA front for the Rams, and I think, a big reason is because, let's call it like it is. They've got a really talented roster. They probably don't want to cut any of their draft picks, so they weren't going after UDFAs that, could really, you would think, really make this roster and pose a threat to those draft picks. However, I will say one UDFA that's on my mind is Jake Hummel. I had a 6th round grade on him, and the Rams signed him early on in UDFA. I like the fit there. This is somebody I think will, he'll help in special teams, I think, but, he has a chance to push Christian Roseboom as the 4th linebacker on the roster. So whether they keep 4 or 5, I think he makes the roster for sure. But yeah, going back to Wildman Samurai, thank you again for your question, because I had no idea Jamal Pettigrew was on the Rams. I actually really like that based on his athletic traits. I'll have to watch tape on him because I don't know who he is, but that's still very exciting about that. Last Sam Prince, how you doing? I give the Rams an A+ on the draft. They won the Super Bowl last year using picks this year. How is that not on A+ when a portion of the picks already achieved the goal? True. I think if you account for the fact they traded, you could look at it two ways. You could be, positive in that regard, like you're doing, or you could be negative, and you can say, well, their 2nd round pick was for a guy that's no longer on the roster. So, you can look at it both ways, I think. The 1st round pick is going, that was for Matthew Stafford. So that was obviously the 1st round pick is set in stone. It was a, fantastic trade. But, yeah, I can understand people being a little annoyed that they didn't have a 2nd rounder for a guy that was only on the team for 8 weeks or whatever, more than that. But yeah, I see where you're coming from. I wouldn't give them an A+, but I think they had a really good draft. When I went back and, watched the tape, specifically on guys like Jacoby Durant, Arcuri, the 7th round pick, and, I would definitely say as well, Bruss, who will be my first film room video of the year. Last year, I did a little bit of this. As you guys know, I did one on Tutu Atwell. I did one on Ernest Jones, and I think you guys liked them. I know you guys liked them for the most part. Well, this year, I wanted to do more, but I couldn't find the tape on those guys, and I wasn't going to do it with just straight up broadcast tape, right? Like, I wanted all 22 to really dive in and show you guys, but also, like, I wanted to be more educated. So because of that, now I have all 22 of all of these guys. So I'm really excited to dive in. I don't have a ton of all 22 on some of them. I have a ton on Logan Bruss. I cut up all the film for 8 games. So it's going to be a hefty, beefy video that I hope you guys do enjoy. I think he has a lot to offer. But again, I wouldn't give this draft an A+, just going back to it. I would give it more of like a B+, based on the fact that they get I think a day one starter at 104. They stay for the most part. They pick at 142. They get a guy that I think could start, potentially right away at nickel, into Kobe Durant, who basically is going to take over Darius Williams. And he's another double D, so he's actually going to take over double D as well. And just his ability, his tenacity, especially stopping, the run, stopping the screen game. I see some big time Dante Dion in him as well. Then you go out, you get Kyron Williams, A+ in my opinion. You get Kyron Williams, who's an A+. You get Quentin Lake, who I think is an A+, because Quentin Lake is very similar, in my opinion, to John Johnson and very similar to Jordan Fuller. So I think you're getting some really good talent there. I just really, really like the way they came out of this draft. They go out and they get Darion Kendrick, who at the time, again, I've talked about this. I talked about it in the video today. If you missed it, you can check it out after the stream. But Alexis and I, on the 448th episode of the Downtown Rams podcast, made it pretty clear that, Darion Kendrick at the time, we had other guys in mind that we wanted. So, in that moment, you might react like, oh, well, that's a bummer. But in reality, when you go back, you watch the film, this is somebody that was dismissed from the Clemson program. He goes over to Georgia, plays a significant role in helping them win a national title. He had 2 interceptions in the semifinal game against Michigan. This is somebody that has played in big time, situations, the off the field issues, character concerns, whatever. The Rams already ironed them out. They've decided he was worth the pick. And it's in the 6th round, and you're going out, you're getting a guy that started on one of the most impressive defenses in college football history in Georgia, and a guy that has a lot of traits. And his biggest knock is the 40 time he ran, which is a 4.8, and his character concerns. So you already checked off the character concerns. They don't bother the Rams. They met with him. That's all good. Now you look at the 4.8 speed, and does 4.8, he's not blazing fast on tape, but he doesn't run a 4.8. This is, and this is something I want to point out before I get into the next questions here. Just because you run a bad 40 time doesn't mean that's actually what you run. And hear me out when I say this. 40 times you're coming out of a sprinter's stance. Not everyone knows how to do these drills. I'll be honest with you, I'd be better off running just straight up than running in a sprinter stance. I don't think it helps, but it does help for some. Some learn to master that. Track stars know how to run. That's the thing. So you may run faster, you may run a faster 40 time and have it not translate simply because that is just, you're used to it. You have track experience. But for a guy like Darion Kendrick, I'm watching him bob his head up. Yeah, no wonder why he didn't have a great time. So I'm thinking it's more so around 4.6, which isn't really fast, obviously, but, it's not the end of the world. There are guys like that have succeeded all over the league. I think the same thing could be said to Kyron Williams, and I'll say this, for people that have any issues and concerns with his 40 time, this guy's running by everybody. Every time I turn on the tape, this guy, he's making guys miss. He's breaking tackles. He's stepping up right into the face of pressure and just sticking his face right in the fan and, taking down defensive tackles in pass pro. And then this guy's running by everybody. He's running by corners, safeties, you name it. I mean, is the speed really that much of a cause of concern? At the end of the day, I don't think so. So I think it's important, the 4.7, whatever he ran at the combine, Kyron's 40, that's not what he runs. It's not what he runs at all. He's not blazing fast, but I think he builds up speed very similar to the first round talent out of Arkansas, Treylon Burks. I think he builds up speed as he goes. But at the same time, he runs a little bit upright, but are we just going to nitpick everything about him? He's a very well-rounded back. And I'll go as far as to say he could end up being RB1 someday. I think everyone's so quick to judge his size. The guy's a $198, and now all of a sudden he can't gain 10 more pounds. Oh, he's a bust. We've already put him in this pre-existing pod where this guy is a scat back because he ran a slow 40 time when it doesn't actually translate to his film. He looks faster on tape, which is all I care about. And then on top of it, we're going to say that he's a scat back. We're just going to say, well, all he's going to be is Theo Riddick because he went to Notre Dame and he's slow and he's short. That's the evaluation, guys. Y'all can go home now. No, that's lazy. If you really do the work, he's very similar to Mark Ingram without the pounds, which he can add the pounds. Mark Ingram's an underrated receiver. He's a good pass protector. He's a 3-time Pro Bowler, 3-time 1,000-yard rusher. But that doesn't fit the narrative because this guy was drafted in the 5th round. There's no way he could be Mark Ingram. He's going to be Dion Lewis. He's going to be James White. He's going to be a piece. You're right, he is in the first year. But don't just assume this guy is a 3rd down back. I think it's incredibly disrespectful to everything this guy does on a football field. He was a leader at Notre Dame. He took on 2 straight seasons of 200 plus carries. He's got under 500 under 500 touches in his career. So he's got enough mileage where I'm comfortable with him, but he doesn't have too much mileage where I'm worried about the guy's conditioning. I'm worried about if this guy's going to last. Whereas you look over in Iowa State, and they're running Breece Hall in the freaking ground. He had 800 carries, or 800 touches at Iowa State. So that's what I'll say. He does remind me a little bit of Eckler. I've said that. I've seen Maurice Jones-Drew. He's not quite the speedster that Maurice Jones-Drew is. But I'm telling you right now, people are not going to see it coming, or they just haven't watched the tape, or they haven't watched me, they haven't watched Alexis, they haven't watched some of you, they haven't listened to you, they haven't read your stuff. Anybody, and I've seen some give the Rams an F for the Kyren Williams pick. I'm just like, do you even understand evaluations? Do you even understand positional value? I mean, having a running back that can do all of that is so important, especially because Sony Michel's a free agent. They have to, figure that out. There's so many question marks in the running back room because these guys have always gotten hurt. Well, I know based on his career, Kyren Williams went up against top-notch competition at Notre Dame. He withstood, no matter how many carries he was given, he withstood plenty of carries, and he didn't get hurt, so he had no meaningful injuries. I feel good about him. I feel good, someday that number 23, which I do believe he'll wear, will end up being an RB1. And I don't feel overly confident that Cam Akers is going to just take over the room. Maybe he does, and I hope he does, but I don't think we can just rule out Kyren Williams just because his first year he might be a scat back. His first year he might be a 3rd down guy. A piece doesn't mean he is forever forbidden from ever getting better and rising above. When you listen to Sean McVay talk about him, he's a complete player, and I believe in that. So, moving on here, Jake, do you think Nick Scott starts over Taylor Rapp next season? I do. I think you saw a lot out of Nick Scott in the playoffs. He came up and, he really shined. I would argue, I mean, the irony here is that week 18, the last game of the year, the regular season, he was horrible. But then he really took his game up a notch, and now all anyone wants to talk about is how, his stock has rose. And that's what happens. Playoffs give you a time to redeem yourself, and I think that's what he did. So yeah, I have him starting over Taylor Rapp. They play different roles, but I think it's going to be fairly rotational. And we'll see, with Jordan Fuller's injury, how well he comes back from that. But Nick Scott, I think the stock is way up for him, and I don't think people are being too crazy about it either. What is up, Peo? How's it going? Jake, any thoughts on if we'll see OBJ back for the upcoming season? As long as he doesn't have another setback, he'll be back. Absolutely, he'll play this year, no doubt about it. If he has another setback, that could end his season effectively, but if he doesn't have a setback, then I think he's good to go for November, and then he's going to make a playoff run. No matter what team he's on, I do believe it's going to be the Rams. Love the Rams draft. I really do like the Rams draft as well. Question, do you think Sony Michel will have to wait for an injury on a team for him to get signed? He's somebody that could, but I also think he's talented enough where he could get signed, soon. So, don't rule that out. But yeah, I mean, he's somebody, the running back position has nothing to do with Sony Michel. Obviously, the guy can ball, but it's the running back position itself. It's really just a position where there's so many guys that can do it. They can all run 1,000 yards. It's a matter of opportunities, and there's just not enough in this league. Everybody's got the rotation. You just had a draft, so it's gotten even deeper. It's going to be harder. So, yeah, I think back to what you were saying, Peo, it's going to be injury-based, I would say. What's up, Henry? Who are we beating in the next Super Bowl? Well, I have the Rams versus Bills, so, we'll see. Do you think the Rams are going to make another move in free agency? Alexander Moran asks. I'm going to say yes, and I think it's going to be OBJ, and I think that's going to be the end of the offseason. I don't think the Rams have any other moves in store. Now that Tyron is gone, there's not really anybody I could see. I could have seen a Bryce Callahan before the draft, definitely not after, and he's headed over to the Chargers anyway. I don't see Jadeveon Clowney. I don't see how it makes sense. If they really wanted a guy like Jadeveon Clowney, they probably would have drafted an edge, with their 142 pick or their 104 pick. The fact they didn't take an edge until 7th round and it's a developmental guy tells me all I need to know. They're either going to trade for a veteran during the regular season, or they are really sold on the ability that they have in Justin Hollins, in Terrell Lewis, in Chris Garrett, and Leonard Floyd, that they don't feel like they need to go out and get anybody. And I'm okay with that. I'm totally okay with that if that's the case. I hope to God it's not still doing that, AZZA. You let me know. But yeah, I hope to God that's not still doing that. What do you think about Tyrann Mathieu signing? You were high on him going to the Rams. Were you bummed? I wasn't bummed, HD, because the draft had already happened, and I really, really, really liked Jacoby Durant's fit. I love that they went out and traded for Troy Hill, who I've gone to bat for so much. I mean, you guys might not remember. I started, because his last season with the Rams was 2020, and then he was on the 2021, 2022 team. So his last season, I started my YouTube channel in November. So you guys didn't really get a feel for how I felt about Troy Hill. But this is one of those guys that I have always really, really liked, and I've defended. And so going out and getting Troy Hill, having Robert Rochelle, who's got an unbelievable amount of potential, a former wide receiver in his own right, turned cornerback, obviously that size, 6'2", I think he fits the bill. So you have obviously Rochelle, you have Jalen, you have Troy Hill, then you go out, you get Jacoby Durant, who, I mean, unless you watch the tape, if you didn't watch tape, you wouldn't understand, but this guy, his speed translates immediately. You see the 4.38 jump off the page, whether it is his recovery speed, whether he's running downhill and stopping, a screen pass, or he's trying to come back and make a tackle. He stands out. I mean, point blank. On top of that, they have David Long, who's playing really good down the stretch last year. So, I think that's why I'm not really bummed about Matthew. Plus, you go out, you get Quentin Lake, who I love. I think Quentin Lake, we'll see how it goes. But if he had a good enough camp, he could be the next Jordan Fuller starting right out of camp if they needed him to. I mean, he's really that good. The reason he was in the 6th round doesn't have glaring stats. He didn't blow it up. He had a really good year at UCLA. He didn't, play a ton 2020, 2019 due to COVID and, injury. So it's a smaller sample size. But this is somebody that has NFL bloodline. His dad was Carnell Lake. I'm sure you guys know that. So he's got the NFL bloodline. He's from the LA area. This is a very hard-nosed football player, a good tackler, more of a wrap-up tackler. So you're not going to see him missing many. He's not going to hit guys as hard as Nick Scott is, but he's going to be a surefire tackler. He's got ball skills that translate. He's just not overly fast. He's not going to be a guy that you want in, single high safety. But if you want a guy that's going to take out George Kittle, if you want the guy that's going to match up on the George Kittles and, guys like that, whether it's Trey McBride or Noah Fant or, whoever, Zach Ertz, twice a year, this is that guy. I mean, he really can be a situational guy to start, and he's going to be a demon on special teams. So I just feel like they added so much in the back end of their secondary that, yeah, it would have been nice to have Matthew, but they don't need him. Plus, they drafted Russ Yeast as well, who has some good ball skills and, who's going to be used in special teams. And they just don't have a lot of spots left. So I don't even know how that's going to work. I don't know who's going to make the team, who's not, but it's going to be a tough one to make the Los Angeles Rams, no doubt about it. It's going to be even tougher to make the Los Angeles Rams when you're dealing with stuff like this, where you have all of these secondary guys coming in. It's like, is there going to be enough room for me? And, that's the question. Are they going to make a trade? Are they going to trade Taylor Rapp? Are they going to trade David Long, both guys that are on, the final year of their contracts? I mean, I don't know. It really begs the question, but that's ultimately why I'm okay with them not getting Tyrann Mathieu. I think that they are loaded with potential and they have legitimate talent that can play early on. So give them their due. Who will start opposite Ramsey and in the slot? So it looks like Hill is going to play more of the Where's Waldo star role. Do a little bit of everything, which will open up Ramsey. So I think the guy that's going to play opposite him, you want my honest opinion, I think it's going to be Jacoby Durant. I think he's going to come in and he's not going to shock coaches. I think they drafted him knowing that he can come in and play right away. I mean, he is the replacement for Darius Williams. So where does that leave David Long? Where does that leave Robert Rochelle? Well, they still use plenty of corners. They're going to use all of them. So I'm not too worried about them getting their snaps. Plus, Troy Hill, I think, is a one-year thing. Really nice to have him back. Let's see if we can win a Super Bowl with him. And then we're going to move on and let the kids do their thing. And I think that's what it's ultimately going to be. But Rochelle, ahead of schedule, but not too far ahead of schedule where you feel like you have to play him here. So I could see him, being the fourth cornerback or fifth. I could even see like David Long, like I said, getting traded away because of how much depth that they have. But we'll see. David Long, after the end of the season, he's a free agent. Troy Hill's a free agent. Obviously Ramsey signed long-term. You have Rochelle, who will be fine for the next, 4 years or 3 years or whatever. And then you have Jacoby Durant. So, I mean, you could say what you will, but I mean, that's kind of what I will say in regards to that. Guys, be sure to hit the thumbs up. Let's get these likes up. We're at, we have 71 people in here. We have 27 likes. So be sure to get those likes up. Really would appreciate that. Appreciate you, Steve. Really do appreciate that. What do you think about the Rams making a play for Arch Manning in about 3 years to replace Stafford? I mentioned this on Twitter. I don't know if this is 100% the plan. This was not like sourced to me, but I wouldn't be surprised if, okay, F them picks, but go out and get, the best, thrower of the football prospect since Peyton Manning. That I wouldn't be surprised if they did that, but who knows? Really miss these live streams. It's about damn time, LeBron James. Yeah, I mean, we've been doing live streams, but I hear you. The Q&As are a little bit more intimate. I can answer everyone's questions, and no, I get you there. What's up, Brandon? You have 500 subs. Congratulations on that. Recon Warrior, Rams all day. Check out Cooper Kupp throw out the first pitch at Dodger Stadium. That's cool. Trey Turner's long-lost relative, Cooper Kupp. Interesting. Hello, Jake. I was hyped about the Rams draft picks. Yeah, I mean, a few of them really got me through the roof. I mean, you guys didn't even get a chance to see it, but I tore this cord right out of the, the sound board that I have for my mic because I was like, yes, and got so excited when they picked Quentin Lake that I just ripped it right out. You couldn't see it because it was so laggy, but yeah, I was hyped. Um, let's see. Jake, have you seen preview of the new Doctor Strange movie? It looks good. Patrick Stewart is in it from what I heard. Yes, I have. I cannot wait for it. It'll be coming out Thursday, and I can't wait. Yeah, I think B is fair. I definitely think a B is fair. Again, there were some things where, okay, could you have gotten Logan Bruss in the fourth? Like, what's the deal there? I had higher graded guys ahead of him, but I really liked Bruss after I went back and rewatched his film. And I can tell you right now, folks, people may not want to hear it, but Logan Bruss could play tackle if he needed to. He's not, and I've seen this. This is misinformation, in my opinion. This idea that he has to move to guard in order to survive in the NFL, I just don't think it's true. I think it's to maximize him. I don't think it's the end all be all. So I would say it's another guard tackle from Wisconsin. You got one in David Edwards, and to be honest with you, you have one in Rob Havenstein, a little bit bigger than they would like, but don't forget, it wasn't that long ago, Jamon Brand was starting at right tackle, and Rob Havenstein was starting at right guard. Yeah, don't forget about that. So Bruss won't start over Coleman. I think he will. Coleman Shelton, really valuable at center, a really good backup, and honestly would have been fine with him starting, but he doesn't have the punch that Logan Bruss has. He doesn't have the strength. He's not going to help as much in the running game. He might help a little bit, kind of similar in pass pro, but I just think the running game is where Bruss is going to shine the most. So I would take Bruss over Coleman. I think the one question is how far along is Tremaine Ankrum? Because I think if Ankrum is the guy that we're sleeping on, don't be surprised if he wins that right guard job. But, they really like Ankrum. But I'm just curious because they liked him at tackle. They had him, filling in for Whitworth the days that, Whitworth had those off days. He was filling in at left tackle, not Noteboom. And now Noteboom gets the deal, and we don't hear about Ankrum. So, I know Ankrum is going to fight for right guard. That's what we know, but I wouldn't rule him out because we have not seen the last of him. I know he had a bad preseason. I think he was hurt too. Not ruling him out for sure. Yeah. Oh yeah. Kyron Williams is fun. Very fun evaluation. Think you should have let Allen go, plug Coleman in, and re-sign Corbett. I wouldn't have been against it. I just think at the end of the day, Corbett wasn't an option. He wanted top dollar for his position. The Rams weren't going to pay him that. Carolina was, and so he went to Carolina. But I would love Corbett as well. I was a big fan of his. I loved when they made the trade. I watched him at the Senior Bowl up close and personal. But I could tell they weren't bringing him back. Yes, pineapples. I'm doing it on all of them. The order is to be determined. I might just do it in draft order. That's probably what I'll do. So it'll be Bruss this week. At the end of the week, I'll see if I can get to Kobe Durant at the end of the middle of next week. We'll see. That'll be a challenge. And then we'll go from there. Kyron Williams the week after that. So just look. It's gonna be like a weekly episodic thing. I don't want to burn myself out too much, and you guys wait for Winning Time on HBO every Sunday like I do. If you watch Barry, that show is back on HBO every Sunday, so you wait for that like I do. I think making this an episodic thing, I think, is the right move. So every Friday, from here on out, every Friday until it's done, we'll have a film video come out, a film room video about each draft prospect. So we'll start with Logan, and we'll go from there. So Logan Bruss, you can expect it on Friday afternoon. We'll premiere it, I think, and we'll go from there. Jake, do you think Jacob Harris get much more snaps next season. I would assume so, since he got like none on the offense, if any. So yeah, I would assume he gets some more snaps this year. They want to develop him. They probably want to go with the long route on that, play the long game. If they do develop him, he could be a stud. He really could. Do you think they will target anyone in free agency now? If so, who? Just OBJ. I don't think that they're going after anybody. Facts B+, agree with that. I love Kyron. Me too. The Bruss pick was actually who I had them taking. I love that dude. He will end up being a starter. Oh, that's awesome. He really nailed it there. Lake is a playmaker, athletic AF. Jake, the Giants are about to let go of James Bradberry. What do you think we could get him after losing out on? I don't think so. I think before the draft, Bradberry was in play. I think post-draft, I think the Rams feel fantastic about their secondary. They might almost have too many guys. And I think they honestly do, because I don't think... right now, my thought is that Russ Yeast isn't going to make the roster unless they do a trade of David Long or Taylor Rapp. At this point, they have so many guys in the back end of their secondary that they're really loaded. If they're going to go after anybody, it's going to be a pass rusher, and I don't see it until the season progresses the way they did it with Von Miller. If Stafford rejuvenated OBJ, then imagine what he could do with Julio or Landry. Isn't Julio's not on a team yet? Has he really not signed? Wow, he really hasn't signed. Interesting. So Julio and Jarvis Landry are not on a team. That's crazy to me. Interesting. Okay, well, the more you know. SG Sports Talk, what's up? How you doing? You got my guy, Jason Poe. You got Jason Poe, and you got another one that I really wanted, Donovan West. Yeah, the 49ers UDFA class was just incredible. Really, really good UDFA class. I was jealous. I love the Kendrick pick. I think he starts. I don't know if he's going to start. That's asking a lot. But I think he's going to play a lot of special teams, good special teams. I think he could work his way up to maybe being a third guy in a cornerback rotation sometime down the road. I wouldn't rule that out. Debo is not going to the Rams. That would have to have the Niners trade him to the Rams, and that will never happen. It's not real. He didn't, obviously the 4.7, I'm not buying him. That's actually his speed, because I just don't think it is. Also, his footwork is kind of sloppy, which can be fixed. The Rams need one more wide receiver, and we should be done. I think the Rams knew that Honey Badger was going to the Saints. That's why they brought back Troy Hill. I don't know about that. I think that they just really missed Troy Hill. They realized when they lost Darius Williams, they needed a guy that they could trust next to Ramsey. And there's a lot of infancy in the cornerback room, so I think it made sense to go out and get a veteran there. As far as that other one, Andrew, I disagree. I don't think they need another receiver. I think they feel really good about the receiver room. I don't see any moves being made at receiver, cornerback, safety, maybe, I don't see anything at linebacker. I don't see anything at running back, quarterback, maybe quarterback. It depends how the USFL goes. I could see them snagging a guy from the USFL. If they did, it better be Kyle Sloter. I think they are probably good at tight end since they signed Pettigrew. Offensive line, you could always add guys, but for the most part, I think they're pretty good at offensive line. The only thing I could see them adding are guys at edge, I think. Yeah, exactly. John Ross, 40 time. Yeah, yep. Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think Kyron probably would have gone where James Cook went if not for the bad testing. Yeah, exactly. I think he's great in that, very slippery in space, hard to bring down. He's going to get the extra stuff. Um, I definitely like that. Yeah, Hayward Bay. Yeah, see, I think Kyron is going to probably add 10 pounds, something like that. What people forget is, as great as Notre Dame is as a program, NFL training staff is just different. It's just different. So, you can't assume that these guys aren't going to get any better. They're not going to get any stronger. When they get to the NFL, things are going to change. It's the way it works. So, no. Yeah, for the most part, I agree with that. What do you think the Mavs need in order to become a championship team? Well, I would have said Giannis, but then he re-signed. I really thought Giannis was going to go to the Mavs for a while. So when he re-signed, I was like, I don't really know what they're going to do. They need to get a true star next to Luka. Yeah, a Dirk resurrection. Yeah, sadly. The Oilers' biggest issue is they just don't have a goalie. They haven't figured out that they need a goalie in the NHL. And not only just one goalie, you need two. Like, there are teams that have two, like, top-notch goalies, and they're good. I think the Rams are the best team in football. The only team that's even close, I think, are the Bills. And I wasn't overly impressed with the Bills' draft. I really like the pick of James Cook. It adds explosiveness in their backfield. But again, James Cook is more of like a gadget guy. I don't think he's like a true running back. So we'll see. But I wasn't overly impressed with the Bills draft, whereas I like the Rams draft. I didn't really like the Bills draft. And they had some other guys. I thought they kind of reached a little bit on Kyrie Elam, but he could end up being a star. Who knows? Who do I think wins the Stanley Cup this year? I think it's going to be the Florida Panthers. I think they have the best team. They've had the best team all year. They've been dominant. I think they're going to end up winning it all. Not quite. They run kind of similar. Like, Kyron runs a little upright, similar to James Conner, but, Kyron is not as tall as James Conner. He's not as big as James Conner. James Conner isn't as durable as Kyron. I don't think they're really similar. He could. I think people underrate, like, the Rams don't win that Super Bowl without Henderson. They would have won the Super Bowl without Cam Akers. Like, Cam Akers was a big reason why they gave up that really crucial sack, because he blocked Andrew Whitworth. His ability in pass protection needs to get better this year. I mean, it's really not good enough at this point. So we got to see an improvement in pass pro from Cam Akers, but like I said, without Darrell Henderson, you don't end up winning that Super Bowl. Just remember that for people that are really against him. Not saying you are, Matt, but I know there are a lot of people that are. I think the Rams address the needs, and Snead usually does good with the late picks. Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. I don't think necessarily he's going to get re-signed. I would love if he did, but I just don't know. Yeah, I mean, I wanted an edge as well. I wanted Dominique Robinson, but that wasn't to be. Although I'm really, really high on Daniel Hardy as a developmental guy with, what is around him in LA. He could end up being really good. No, the injuries are not in his favor. He's had a hard time there. What's up, LA Rams? I wouldn't say no doubt, because like I said, we don't know how Cam is going to come back from that injury. I know he rushed back, but I don't know. I need to see him improve big time in pass pro. I can't stress that enough. He needs to improve in pass pro. It is that simple. What's up, Nolan? I don't think Rap is garbage. I just think there's some times where, he puts himself in bad positioning in coverage. But, I mean, he's really good in the box. He's a good box safety. I don't think they would cut him. I think they would trade him, if anything. Is there any undrafted free agent that could develop into a contributor or potential star? So, I don't think the Rams went for UDFAs. Like, here's how I would explain this. During this process, I feel like there are tiers. There are different tier groups to like the UDFAs, and I feel like the Rams did not go after like a top tier guy. Okay, they went after I think a top tier guy at linebacker. So like when we talk about priority UDFA, we're talking about the top tier UDFAs, the guys that should have been drafted. They weren't drafted because, well, for whatever reason, they just weren't. But they were the first off the board if there was another draft. That is the Jake Hummels of the world, who I think Jake Hummel was one of the best linebackers remaining. He probably wasn't ahead of JoJo Doman or, a guy like that, but he was one of the best linebackers remaining out of Iowa State. So I look at him, and with the Rams coaching staff and the way they develop these UDFAs, you've had Rodney McLeod. This same organization has put Rodney McLeod, as a starter, UDFA. You talk about Malcolm Brown, who was a starter. UDFAs do actually start with the Rams. They get an opportunity. Kendall Blanton is another one. He had a significant role in the playoffs. So UDFAs get their run. But, when you're talking about like Jake Hummel here, he's dealing with Ernest Jones, Traven Howard. Now they had Bobby Wagner. They have Christian Roseboom. So I think his focus is going to be taking on Christian Roseboom, battling for that fourth linebacker spot. Because he's going to try to not only make the 53, what he wants is he wants to be active on game days. That is what he wants. So, if he can get active on game days, if he can be one of the 48 that dress, then he's got a chance to really prove his worth on special teams. Then we can start to maybe see if he can carve his way into the lineup. We could start to see him at linebacker in a rotational role. He wouldn't start over Wagner, and he definitely wouldn't start over Ernest Jones, but he might carve a positional role depending on how well he performs. Another guy here who could end up being a starter is kicker/punter Cameron Dicker. There we go. This was the kicker/punter for the Texas Longhorns. Made some big kicks. Obviously, people called him, Dicker the kicker. But this is somebody that actually was pretty good as a punter. So much so that a lot of teams were working him out as punter throughout the process. So I wasn't surprised when the Rams grabbed him. He's not going to be just the kicker in preseason for Matt Gay. He's going to probably face against Riley Dixon and see how well he can do as a punter. And if he can beat him out, then the Rams have their new punter. So I wouldn't rule him out. I like Daniel Isom from Washington State. My only issue with Daniel Isom, he's from St. Louis, but my only issue for Daniel Isom is that he's just got so much against him here. You're talking about two safeties that were drafted. You're talking about all of that. There's so much depth in the back end of the secondary. I just don't know if there's enough space for a guy like that to make the team. Another guy here that's interesting before the Jamal Pettigrew one was Roger Carter. Now this is somebody I'm looking at. I believe he's out of Georgia State, if I'm not mistaken. Fullback, tight end, really good, athlete. He's fun to watch on film. This is somebody that could be like a use check. He seems like a little bit of a poor man's Chig Okonkwo who went in the 5th round to the Titans. I wouldn't be surprised if that's who we're talking about here. So, I don't know. Interesting. But, good question. I just don't feel like there's a ton of UDFAs that they got in the top tier because I don't think they wanted to cut any of the guys they drafted. If that makes any sort of sense, if you're following me, hopefully you are. That's how I see it. Because, that has happened in the past where you have the tough decision. Now I have to cut, an Aaron Brown or somebody like that they've drafted in the past. Or, Clay Johnson last year, Johnston. That sometimes that's what happens. So UDFAs, they can be tricky, and it's you don't want to make yourself look bad. So sometimes when you feel really good about your roster, you feel really good about your draft class, you're going to recruit guys that you really don't expect to make it and are more so camp bodies. That's where the term camp body comes from. When you look at Dallas and what they got, you look at the Kansas City Chiefs, you look at San Francisco. San Francisco got top tier UDFAs that will make most of the rosters in the league. Jason Poe will be on that roster. Donovan West should have been drafted. He'll be on that roster. Miami's another one. They went out and they got a bunch of guys. Kellen Deesh was the headline. I believe the Titans got Ryan Stonehouse. He has a chance to win that punter job. But there's a lot of guys out there. And then there's just these tiers. And I feel like the Rams kind of circled around this tier And they went with Jake Hummeltier up here because they felt like, yeah, we could add another linebacker. We could get some depth at linebacker. So that made sense. But the other position was where they felt pretty deep. They didn't go after the top tier guys. They went typically around here. I hope that made sense to people. Nick is inconsistent. I like Fuller. Everybody else is iffy at best. We'll see. I don't know. Nick isn't that inconsistent. He's been pretty consistent. He's been really good when it matters. So I guess we'll see. What's up, Alex? How we doing? Cup, Akers, Britt Scott, and Dodger Blue. Odell going to Green Bay. I don't know about that. Based off what? Yeah. Ravens versus Rams. Clowny trash. Has the Honey Badger been signed? I don't see it anywhere. Yeah, he got signed by the Saints. How long before Logan Bruss makes the starting lineup? I'm going to say he makes it day one. I'm going to say that Logan Bruss is your starting right guard for the Los Angeles Rams the first game of the new season. Rangers Pens shootout. Matthew to Saints. Yep. What veteran edge rusher do you think the Rams would trade for in midseason? I haven't really done any thought or research on this, so I really couldn't tell you. Yeah, I'm not going to throw a name out there when I've done no research on this, just being honest with you, HD, but I'll look into this and I'll have an answer for you next time around. I'm not going to try and, type away and try to find, I don't want to do that. I don't want to rush your question. I don't really have a good answer, so I'll answer that next time around. Please ask me that next time we do a Q&A. I'll be prepared. But, yeah, the edge rusher, there's not anybody, I just don't want to give you just a random guy, get your hopes up, and then that guy doesn't end up being the case. I've seen Brian Burns mentioned. I don't think Brian Burns is going to be available. He's a fantastic pass rusher. But if he is, I would throw picks at Brian Burns for sure. Push comes to shove, they'll make a move on edge rusher later on midseason. Totally agree. Which rookie do you think has the best chance of starting? Bruss, because I think Bruss was literally drafted with him in mind as the right guard starting. But I also think Jacoby Durant. I think they all have a chance to start except for Russ Yeast, who I think is going to get cut because there's the numbers game is too much. And I don't see Kendrick starting anytime soon. If he starts, it's way in the future. And I don't see Arcuri starting until Havenstein is gone. Then maybe Arcuri. But for the most part, I think everyone has a chance to start someday. I would probably say Kendrick is a little bit further away. I would say Arcuri is a little bit further away. But for the most part, the Rams look pretty good on this draft class. I think Kyron Williams is a year or two away from being a legit starter if they want him to. Troy Hill was all right, had more ups and downs. Upgrade over D-Will. Yeah, Troy Hill was really good his last year. I can't stress that enough. So I wouldn't say he was all right. I think he was really good his last year with the Rams. Saints will give Brady problems. Troy Hill is a baller. I'm glad he's coming back. Agreed. Kings versus Maple Leafs Stanley Cup final. I don't see the Kings making it that far. I don't think they're that great of a hockey team. I think that they're solid. They're sneaky. They also have a negative point differential. So they're a team I think that they can get hot, but I don't see them making the Stanley Cup final now. I'm going to say it right now. Darian Kendrick is going to be a starter this year. I don't see that, but if you're right, I'll remember that for sure. I'll give you props. I think Troy going to be on the outside and Durant inside like Joyner. Could see that. Very well could see that. Kendrick underrated. He going to start, no doubt. Wouldn't say no doubt. Will Jacob Harris play tight end or wide receiver? I think, and here's the funny thing. Jacob Harris is going to play wide receiver, but I think he's going to be allocated as a tight end when they're doing their roster discussions. So to keep other guys on the roster, they'll be like, okay, we make Jacob Harris a tight end. He's a receiver, but we're going to count him as a tight end on our roster because he can do both. So that's how I think it is. Positional versatility. Van Jefferson, Cooper Kupp, and now Lake all had NFL dads. Yes. I think one other guy that the Rams drafted had, what's his name? Oh, Russ Yeast. He had an NFL father. Craig Yeast. He played for the Bengals. Sorry, I was losing my breath. Anyway, so I feel like it's kind of weird that the Rams pushed a lot of cap down the road to clear up cap space this year, yet they won't bring in anyone new. Maybe they have a trade in mind. Probably the main reason, but also keep in mind next year the Amazon money comes in. Don't forget about that. The Amazon deal, the Amazon money's going to come in, and we're going to see more cap. So don't forget what the Rams are doing. They are doing it with that in mind. A lot of teams are doing it with that in mind. Our safeties suck. Fuller decent at best. Lake from UCLA sounds like a JJ3 type of player. He really is. He's very similar to JJ3. He's very similar to Jordan Fuller. He's exactly what the Rams would want at safety. When I interviewed him with Alexis, I literally told her after the show, I'm like, he's going to be drafted by the Rams. I can already tell you. And sure enough, he was. It's why he was in every single mock draft I did. I did 2 mock drafts. He was in both of them. I just got the pick number wrong. I had him in the 6th round, though, to the Rams. Nick Scott, Cam Akers, and Cooper Kupp at the Dodgers game. I got Kendricks coming in and playing on the other side of Ramsey. Yeah, you guys are really high on Kendrick. I'm just going to warn you here. Kendrick's good. I'm not saying he's bad. But Jacoby Durant is ahead of Kendrick day one. No doubt about it. They are very high on Jacoby Durant. Like, Jacoby Durant is probably going to start at nickel at the very least. So I think it's going to be Hill on one side, or maybe Hill as, Hill in the star, Jacoby Durant, Jalen Ramsey, and then Rochelle and Long are going to, I don't think Kendrick really gets a chance to see the defensive side of the field. I think he's going to be a special teamer for at least a year. Bro, it's not realistic. Someone's not going to get playing time. Who will be calling plays on defense, Fuller or Wagner? Have to imagine it's Wagner. Just have to. Safe to say Dante Dion won't be back. I really liked him. Yeah, I think Dante Dion's on what you would call speed dial. Like, if anybody goes down, Dante Dion is going to be called. I think he's probably the next man up. But no, I don't think he's going to be on this roster the way it looks. So, thoughts on Daniel Hardy? I think he's an incredible athlete. He's got a lot to his arsenal. I described him in our video that we did on Downtown Rams, episode 448 of the podcast. I said, look, this guy is like having a crossbow and not knowing how to shoot it. He's got all the tools there as far as the NFL. Now you got to mold him. You got to teach him how to use them because he's got a ton in his arsenal, in his toolbox, but he's got to know how to use it to his advantage in the NFL. Right now, he's just winning off of his athleticism and speed. You start getting him to, learn how to counter and, do the move like the jump chop that Aaron Donald taught everybody. All right, now you're talking. But, right now he's really just speed. Whereas I do think, Daniel Hardy's more bend and whatnot. I do feel like while you look at Chris Garrett, he could bend, but he also had some power to him. He could bull rush. I feel like Daniel Hardy's going to have to add some to his repertoire for sure. Guys, be sure to hit the thumbs up. We're at 51 likes. We have 90 people in here, so be sure to hit that thumbs up. It'll push more people to the Q&A, and I would really appreciate that. Jake, with there still being a good amount of veteran edge rushers still on the market, do you see them signing one or two of them to vet minimums? I don't. I think they're going to roll with what they have. If they really felt they needed edge, they probably would have addressed it at the third pick or their fourth round pick, but they didn't. So the fact that they went developmental in the 7th round too, when Jesse Luketa was there, who I think Jesse Luketa has a really high floor, kind of a lower ceiling, tells me all I need to know. They feel really good and they like their coaching staff. They feel like they're going to go the long route, play the long game with Daniel Hardy, who I do think will be active on game days. I think he's going to start right away on the special teams. I think he's going to be a big-time special teamer. He was a big-time special teamer at Montana State, so that's the role I envision for him. But don't forget, guys, you still have Ernest Brown, and I was reminded about Ernest Brown, so don't feel bad if you forgot about him, because Ernest Brown is the only guy on film I watched. I won't say the only guy, but I will say the only guy, because this is how I'm going to word it. And you'll see this when I drop the film video on Friday of Logan Bruss. I almost said Daniel Bruss. Logan Bruss On film, I've cut up 8 games so far, and I saw him handle Kwity Paye. I saw him handle Aiden Hutchinson. I saw him handle Joshua Uche. I saw him, for the most part, handle Chase Young until the end of the game when he had a huge strip sack against him. But one guy that he really struggled against, and I saw him handle Tyreek Smith pretty easily on Ohio State as well. But one guy he clearly struggled against was Ernest Brown. Ernest Brown of the Rams. So he's somebody that is now in my head. I'm not letting him go. I think he's got the talent. I think he was a late bloomer at Northwestern. But I don't know about him because he's not mentioned a lot, but I almost wonder if the Rams are okay with that as kind of like their secret weapon. He's still around. He's still kicking. So Ernest Brown, if he takes a big leap this year, don't be surprised. I'm expecting some things out of him. We don't talk about him enough, mainly because he's such a tweener at the next level. He's like too small to be a true 3-4 end, but too big to be a true 3-4 outside linebacker. So, I mean, he is a tweener by definition, but I don't know, man. I watched him, and he can rush the passer. If he's a situational pass rusher, I'm okay with that. So that's somebody to definitely keep in mind. And that might be one of the main reasons why they're not going after edge defenders. Maybe they're also accumulating him in their count, and I don't know. He spent the whole year on the practice squad, got coached up. We'll see what he does in year 2. I'm sure last year was a disappointment to him and kind of a reminder that the league can be a little cruel at times, but I'm excited about him. I think he's somebody that we're not talking about anywhere near as much as we should be, and so I'm excited. By the way, I never answered this, and I just realized I never answered this, so I'm going to skip. I'm way behind on these questions, so I'm going to skip ahead to this. Brandon, thank you so much for donating. Appreciate you. Hey, what's up, Jake? Love the Kyren Williams picks, and low-key Quentin Lake pick is solid, dude. Reminds me a lot of JJ43, same height, weight, speed. I agree. And those are my 2 favorites as well. I gave them both an A+, and I appreciate you so much for donating. I'm sorry it took so long for me to acknowledge that. Obviously, it was nothing personal. We're buds, but yeah, I just noticed that. I was like, oh, crap. I got a donation. I didn't even say anything about it. So, yeah, appreciate that, man. Like the stream up, guys. Yes, please. Have you seen Jacob Harris and Tutu joined at the hip with Cooper Kupp so far this offseason? You think they both make it? Yeah, I think they definitely could. Tutu's got plenty of, potential, athleticism. I mean, he can ball, so can Jacob Harris. So we'll see. I will say right now, preseason's going to be fun. I know I said it was going to be fun last year. It was kind of a disappointment. But now, you got another year of Bryce Perkins and potentially another quarterback that they'll probably throw in there. You got a running back as exciting as Kyren Williams. I mean, that's as exciting as it gets there. He's going to probably start. Then wide receivers, you got Jacob Harris, you got Tutu Atwell, you got Brandon Powell maybe getting some opportunities. I'm excited about that. Obviously J.J. Koski's still there. I think they cut Warren Jackson, but if not, you do have Warren Jackson from Colorado State. Then offensive line, Alaric Jackson gets an opportunity. You got, AJ Arcuri getting an opportunity. Logan Bruss will probably play a bit. Let's be honest here. He's probably going to have to play to earn. Tremaine Ankrum, Bobby Evans fighting for his life to make the roster. There's a lot of guys here. Jack Snyder, the San Jose State guard, I want to say. Could be wrong, but I think it's San Jose State. Jack Snyder, the UDFA, he just signed with the team, so, fun there. And then defensive line, you talk about Marquise Copeland's probably going to make the roster, but you want to see him take the next step, be one of the leaders in preseason. You look at him, Jonah Williams, Michael Hoyt, maybe their position on the roster isn't as guaranteed as it was last year. So you'd like to see them take steps forward. Ernest Brown the fourth, like I talked about. Bobby Brown, he didn't really play a ton in preseason. He got hurt. He had some issues. We'll see now, if he can take that next step. And then pass rushers, Daniel Hardy's going to have plenty of run for his money. You have Chris Garrett. They're probably going to start, to be honest with you. You still have At least I believe. You still have the Justin Lawler pick, which was surprising and made no sense when they got him because typically that's not who they would draft, but he's still there, So they have plenty of guys, and then linebacker. You talk about Jake Hummel and Christian Roseboom starting in all likelihood. And then safety. Quentin Lake will probably start next to Russ Yeast, and that, and then corner. You're probably looking at Jacoby Durant and getting him some playing time, as well as starting Darion Kendrick on the outside with David Long or whoever's fighting to make the roster, and then they'll probably sit the other guys out because they want them to be healthy for the season. So, yeah, I'm excited about that. Really, really excited about that. I think this preseason is going to be a lot of fun. Won't be surprised if the Rams end up kicking the crap out of one of those teams because they got a lot of talent on that preseason roster. We miss out on Arch. I'm sure Jacksonville will have messed up Trey Law, so we can get the best out of him. Let's see. Jake, what was your overall thoughts on how Las Vegas was hosting the draft? I think they did a great job. Hard to say. I watched the draft a little bit, but I mean, we were so far ahead of the programming that I just didn't really watch on day 3. I think it was fine. It was a cool setup, but it was a little weird with the circus. Okay, and I still can't think. I can't get Derek Carr's hair out of my head. Just crazy. But you thought Lawler left? Yeah, I mean he might have. I could be wrong on that. Don't quote me. What do you expect Stafford to look like in year 2? Oh, are you kidding? Stafford is going to be awesome this year. I think Stafford might actually finally win the MVP. I had him winning the MVP last year, but now he's year 2 with this system. I think they're going to ramp it up in the passing game. I think they're going to be a much better team running the football. A lot of usage with the running back receiving room. I mean, you talk about Darrell Henderson being used, Cam Akers, obviously Kyron Williams. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited. A demon. Darian Kendrick is going to be opposite Jalen Ramsey. I don't see it, but again, I will hold you to that. Stafford going to be snatching more souls in year 2? Pretty much. How good do you think the Saints are going to be? Enough to worry you? Not enough to worry me. I think the Saints will be pretty good, though. They got a good-looking roster. I don't think people are talking about them enough. I do think they made a mistake getting Olave. I think there were other guys that were better options at receiver. Not really a huge asset in the run-after-the-catch department. So I think they kind of messed up in that regard. But either way, I thought the Saints had a good draft. I thought the Saints had a good offseason, and that's that. I think if Stafford stays healthy, he can win the MVP. I agree with you there. Matt Stafford really going to go off this year. Sold Snatcha. He was comfortable that 49er game, Super Bowl, beat out everyone's expectations. Yeah, he was phenomenal. I can't believe he didn't win Super Bowl MVP just because he threw interceptions. Like, nobody's ever won Super Bowl MVP has thrown interceptions or anything like that. Just clearly the media didn't like him. Julio waiting for Brady to call. Yep. They would have brought in Julio if he wasn't so injury prone. If the Rams don't get OBJ, then they try to sign another receiver, Julio or Jarvis. I think that they're good. If they don't get OBJ, then they'll stick by what they have, and that'll be a sign like, hey, let's give Tutu and Jacob Harris a shot. Julio is waiting for Stafford to call and laugh aloud. Kidding, just kidding. That would be funny if he did come to the Rams. Jake, in your opinion, you think Julio can give the Rams a good year? I just don't see the fit there. Since they got Allen Robinson, like Julio Jones is not the same Julio Jones. I feel like he's declining quickly. So, yeah, it's hard at this point. I wouldn't go after him, no. Yeah, exactly. You got to let the guys develop. I mean, you didn't just spend a 4th-round pick on Jacob Harris and a 2nd-round pick on Tutu Atwell to just go out and get Julio Jones. You think it would be a good move to move Ernest to outside linebacker? I think he'd do great. I think he could rotate there, but no, you don't want him rushing. It's kind of the same deal. I think some people wanted Ogletree as an outside backer, and it just doesn't work that well with everything they're doing. It's based upon how they have it right now. So maybe Julio can go to the Colts to be back with Matt Ryan again. I would like that, but I don't know if they'll do that because that means their 2nd-round pick, Alec Pierce, probably goes out of the lineup because they want to use Paris Campbell as their slot. And then they have Pittman as their starter. So I like the way they have it right now with Pittman, Pearson, Paris Campbell, Pittman, Pearson, Paris, pushing P over there in in Indy. But I don't think they need Julio. What number will Troy Hill take? I'm gonna go with 2. It was his high school number, according to my brother. I did not know that, but I thought 2 made sense before he even said that. Do you think Troy Hill will get a few pick sixes like 2020? I think he could. He's got the talent to. Jake, do your Rams drafting Kyren Williams put pressure on Cam Akers? I guess because he's got 2. Here's what I think is kind of funny, okay? This is not Cam Akers hate. This is me being an analyst. Cam Akers is not a better pass protector than Kyren Williams, and I don't think he's a better receiver. He's a lot better as a runner because he's a seasoned runner. He's been in the NFL already. He's played in big games. He's had big games in the league. But I don't think he's a better receiver than Kyren. I think Kyren's a better route runner. I think he's a better, catcher of the football, if you will. And I think he's a way better pass protector. He might be as good as, Darrell Henderson already. Excuse me. So that is already something that is out there, and that's something we need to talk about because it's not trying to hate on Cam Akers, but this is why I keep saying Kyren Williams can legitimately win that running back job. If Akers goes down again and Darrell Henderson goes down again, and history would say that they might, Kyren Williams, if he stays upright, can, behind that offensive line that I think is built for the run, I think is built for the way he runs the ball, he could be the RB1. He could go over. If Kyren Williams had to start the season, because Cam Akers and Darrell Henderson were just out for the year, say he starts week 1, Kyren Williams would have over 1,500 total yards. Remember what I just said. If Kyren Williams had to start the season, he would have over 1,500 yards in 17 games. It's not as crazy as you think. I mean, that's a little bit over 100 total yards a game. I think he definitely could get that. This is somebody that he gets the opportunities, and he could do that in the league. It's just a matter of getting those opportunities. And the Rams aren't bringing him in to do that. I'm just saying he is capable of that should they ever need him to do that, which is great. You can't see them getting a punter? Nope. I can't. I think they're good with Riley Dixon, and if I think his name is Cameron Dicker. Yes. If Cameron Dicker wins the job, then so be it, but I think they're really okay with making Riley Dixon their punter. They like him. I'm happy to have Troy Hill back, but why was he rocking a Raider hat in his press conference? I don't know. That's kind of weird. Definitely, the way Kyren runs reminds me of Elijah Mitchell. That is interesting. He could be the Elijah Mitchell of the year. Think about that. Trying to get my voice back. All right. Double overtime, huh? Yes, DBs have great competition. Julio to the Colts would be nice if Ryan wasn't there. Low-key, Jokic and Luka would be fire. Maybe that's in the future. We'll see. Jake, I think Kyren Williams and Stafford will be a great combo with Kupp and OBJ. I think they could. Jake, I think the Ravens, Rams, Jets, Giants all had good drafts this year. I would agree with you. I would definitely agree with you there. I think you could probably throw in the Falcons since they got like my favorite guys in the draft. The weirdest draft was New England because New England's best pick made no sense when they already have Ramondre Stevenson and Damian Harris, and they go out and they get Pierre Strong. That was mind-boggling to me. No, I don't think the Rams should add any more receivers. Let the kids are all right. Let them develop here. What would you bet? Who would you bet becomes Pro Bowler from this draft class? I'm gonna say I could see Kyren. I could see Jacoby Durant. I could see Quentin. I could see Bruss. I mean, I could see 4 out of the 8 guys becoming Pro Bowlers. Legitimately from this. I mean, I'm not saying they will. I think the one guy that will be a Pro Bowler, 100%, is Logan Bruss. I think he's going to be a Pro Bowl guard. I really do. But the others, things need to go their way. Jacoby Durant needs to get the opportunity. You have to keep in mind, nickel corners don't get the press that the outside corners get. So that is something to keep in mind moving forward. But he could. And then I think Kyron, if he gets the carries, Kyron definitely is capable. So, I mean, that's worth mentioning. Exactly. Cowherd has the Broncos slightly ahead of the Rams. More of the gas the team because of Wilson takes just now. It's the Broncos. Weird. Jake, with the draft the Lions had, does Goff have a resurgence? Yeah, I mean, I think the Lions basically said, yeah, we're going to go and get you Jamison Williams. We're going to stick by you and not get a quarterback. You're our guy. And I think when you have that added confidence, Jared Goff now knows he's the guy this year. And I think there's obviously some pressure because you know that they didn't draft one this year. You know you're going to be looking over your shoulder next year if you don't succeed. But I thought it was telling. They didn't draft a quarterback for a reason. I think Goff is going to have a good year. He could sign after camp starts. I don't think that contract is close to being done. There's a lot to it, a lot more than meets the eye. If OBJ re-signs, he's probably going to wear 13. Who's Robinson? Dominique Robinson. He went to the Bears, and I think it was picked in the 5th round or the 6th round. What do you think about D-Hop's suspension? Makes sense. Why the Hollywood Brown now? I don't get the Hollywood Brown move at all. Hollywood Brown is one of the most overrated wide receivers in National Football League. I just don't get it. The guy runs straight down the field. He can't catch a pass. Okay? So this guy's drop issues. He basically just runs straight down the field. He's short, so it's not like he can go up and high point the football. He's not going to bail Kyler Murray out. And that's really it. He's not a great route runner. He's okay. And, I mean, you know, everyone blames Lamar Jackson's throwing ability for Hollywood Brown, but I'm like, how about let's blame Hollywood Brown for the reason that it took a 66-yarder to beat the Detroit Lions in Detroit. He dropped like 3 touchdowns in that game. Like, this is somebody that has his own issues. I mean, Hollywood Brown asked for the trade. I don't know why. Congrats. You left... I don't get it. I really don't get it. He's a one-trick pony. I will never understand that pick. I'll never understand that trade. It just tells me that Kyler Murray has the Arizona Cardinals by the balls, essentially. It has nothing to do with the D-Hop suspension. Kyler Murray has the Arizona Cardinals by the balls. He played in school with Marquise Brown. It's not out of the equation that he's the main reason they got him. I think it's very obvious. And I think he just basically was like, you know what? I won't sign if you don't get him. Or you better get him. I'm not saying I won't sign. I'm not saying you might need to trade me, but you might want to get him. Here's my thing. This is my big hot take, and you guys probably have already seen it if you're on Twitter. But let me just say this. The Cardinals are about to hit the basement of the NFC West again, hard. And Cardinals fans don't want to admit it. But what did this team do? Their draft was not good. I thought they had by far one of the worst drafts of the year. I mean, I wasn't a big fan at all. I was not a big fan of their draft at all. Let me bring it up here. I got to bring it up because I want to have it in front of me here. Yeah, so here's my thing with Arizona. I feel like Arizona is just kind of like they're thinking it's like given. Like, oh, well, we've already proven. We got to the playoffs, we'll be back next year. And like forgetting that like Seattle got better. Like Seattle, I know they lost Russell Wilson, but that roster is not bad. The 49ers are still the 49ers. Banking on Trey Lance to bust is not a good bet. And the Rams are the Super Bowl reigning champions, and I would argue they're as good, if not better, than last year. So if you're Arizona here, you're sitting here and your draft was getting Cameron Thomas in the 3rd round, getting, I can't even believe, Majai Sanders in the 3rd. Like, they got Lucada. Their best picks. Arizona's best picks were in the 6th and 7th when they got Jesse Lucada in the 7th and they got Lecitus Smith in the 6th. But aside from that, you spent a 1st-round pick to get Hollywood Brown. I just can't comprehend why you would do such a thing. I don't care about the fact, oh, well, Kyler Murray and him have this connection. That's great. That's so great. You're going to really go there? You're really going to go there. You're going to pin this on Lamar Jackson? Are you going to say that Lamar Jackson is the reason that Marquise Brown hasn't reached his potential? Like, are you freaking kidding me? How much better is he going to be in Arizona? Lamar Jackson was a unanimous MVP in 2019. How much better is it going to be in Arizona? I can tell you this right now. Marquise Brown has literally had 1,000-yard season, which he had by 9 yards. He got 1,000 yards by 9 yards. The other seasons, 2020, 769 yards. 769. He had 8 touchdowns. He had 6 last year, was a career low. That's probably why he wants out of Baltimore, because Lamar Jackson can win without him. They don't need him. They got Rashad Bateman. Get out of here. They got Devin Duvernay. They got Prochet. They don't need him. Tylan Wallace is right around the corner. He was like a 4th-round pick in 2020. They don't need him. This trade was awful. They gave up the same amount that the Eagles gave up to get A.J. Brown, who is astronomically better in every way. And you look at this, and you're like, wait, Marquise Brown had 1,000-yard season in his 3-year career? Wait, you mean to tell me the year Lamar Jackson won the MVP, he only threw the ball 71 times to Marquise Brown? Marquise Brown only had 584 receiving yards. He had 769 the year later, and then he had 1,000, barely over 1,000, on 91 receptions? Really? I'm just saying, I think this guy is incredibly overrated. I don't get it. Like, the Cardinals put all their eggs in this proverbial basket for Marquise Brown and Kyler Murray. At this point, I'd be done with both of them. I wouldn't have traded for Brown, and I would have just traded away Murray. Like I said, like the hot take of the year for me, Cardinals are going to be in the basement of the NFC West. It's going to happen. I'm telling you right now. They did not get much better. They didn't add anybody. I'm not really overly impressed with their... look. They still got AJ Green, okay? So, he's over the hill. They have a talented player in Antoine Wesley. Has familiarity with, their coach and Cliff Kingsbury. Marquise Brown, I think, is a good player. I think he's incredibly overrated, but he's a good player. Rondale Moore, I like a lot. And, they have Hopkins when, 10 games? Because he's going to get suspended for, the first 7. They added Trey McBride. That made no sense, too. You have actual needs, and then you pick a tight end in the 2nd round with the first pick of your draft? Are you freaking kidding me? I love how they get J.J. Watt, and they just assume that because they got J.J. Watt by name, they're going to have an elite pass rush. I just don't get it. The Cardinals took that 1 year of being, an actual thorn in the Rams' side, of being a potential playoff contender, Super Bowl contender, and they didn't even survive the full year because they fell off at the end of the year. Here's what we know about the Cardinals. They're not going to have Hopkins until week 7. Okay? That's not good. That doesn't bode well for them. So they're not going to have Hopkins until week 7. We already saw Kyler Murray when we don't have Hopkins. Okay? That's not very good. Marquise Brown, first off, I mean, he's good, but like they trade away a first round pick. So now a first round pick will not be on the field, but hey, at least you have Marquise Brown. You didn't know how to use Rondale Moore last year. We'll see if you figure that out. AJ Green's over the hill. We've already seen that. Last year, he had his moments, but he's not AJ Green of old. And then the tight end position, oh, congrats. You have Ertz, and you went out and you got a tight end in the second round. For no reason. They did not need to do that. What we do know is that their edge is not very good. They have an aging, or a little bit older, Marcus Golden, who I do like, and they have Devin Kennard. Okay? Like, this team could have used an upgrade. I don't feel like Arizona... I don't feel like they got better. I just don't. And Kyler Murray has yet to prove in his time in the league that he can actually play a full season. Because every single point and I've been a Kyler Murray, fan. I've rooted for him, not against the Rams, but I've rooted for him. I liked him until he had that whole me, not we BS that came out about him getting paid after losing 34-11 in the playoffs. And let's be honest here, his play craters after every single season. Like at the end of every season, his play goes like, he's amazing, MVP caliber up here. And then when it gets over here, he's like down here. His play craters every single end of every single season. Down the stretch, when it's important, Stafford rose to the occasion. Kyler Murray he cratered. So that is my biggest issue with the Cardinals. Then I look at Seattle, and I feel like right now I'm Keyshawn Johnson because I know like Seattle was going to win the division. I know that's what he said. And I don't think Seattle's going to win the division. I don't love Seattle, so before anybody that's in here says that I'm being a Seattle homer, I'm not a Seattle fan. Notice the Rams stuff in the background. Anyway, Seattle goes out and they get Charles Cross. Yeah, it might have been a little too late, right? You trade away Russell Wilson, now you realize, oh, we should probably actually protect the quarterback. Okay, whatever. Well, they get Charles Cross. Really good talent. Bookend left tackle of the future. Good job. They get Abraham Lucas in the third round, okay? I think a plug-and-play right tackle, okay? You look at right guard, they have, Gabe, they have Gabe Jackson. Center, they sign Austin Blythe. Left guard, they have a stud in Damian Lewis out of LSU. Offensive line, for the first time in a long time, is a check mark for Seattle. Their receivers, DK Metcalf. They have Tyler Lockett. They have Freddie Swain. They go out and they get Dwayne Eskridge last year. Okay, he wasn't really able to play most of last year, but I think he's going to have a much better season this year. They go out and they get Bo Melton in the 7th round. It's like people thought Bo Melton, being from Rutgers was the reason that he should fall all the way down the boards. Bo Melton was a top 5, he was a 5-star recruit coming out of high school. Like big-time schools recruited him. He's not just some nobody. So they got a really good player in Bo Melton. Then you look at tight end, they got Noah Fant from that trade. So that's great. Drew Lock, I love how we've already decided he's a bust. It's like, oh yeah, well, Denver definitely knows how to do well with quarterbacks. I mean, they have Peyton Manning. Oh wait, that's right. They don't do well with quarterbacks. Denver has proven they can't develop quarterbacks. They couldn't do it with Osweiler. They couldn't do it with Drew Lock. They can't develop quarterbacks. Okay? They haven't done it since, like, John Elway. Okay? They had Jay Cutler and they traded him. Like, they can't develop quarterbacks. So I don't know why we're blaming Drew Lock when he's coming from an organization that has proven that they can't develop quarterbacks. It's just proven. It is a fact that Denver hasn't been able to develop quarterbacks. So now Drew Lock goes to Seattle, who, by the way, did develop Russell Wilson, to be fair. And Lock now has all of these weapons. He's got all this protection. They go out and they get Kenneth Walker III, who's the best running back in the draft. So you add him, and then the defense, I mean, I don't think it's the greatest defense ever, but they had Shelby Harris, who's a bona fide leader in that locker room from Denver from the trade. They have LJ Collier, who's a first-round pick from 2019. They have Poona Ford, who's a monster in the interior. They have Quentin Jefferson, who was a monster for them, went over to Vegas, and now he's back in Seattle. I think Al Woods is a pretty good rotational defensive lineman. They draft Boy Mafe out of Minnesota in the 2nd round. They have Jordan Brooks, a first-round talent. Cody Barton's an athletic linebacker linebacker, third-round talent from 2019. They go out and they get Uchenna Nwosu in free agency from the Chargers. They have Trey Brown. They have Justin Coleman. They have Sidney Jones, who's playing really well down the stretch. They had Kobe Bryant and Tariq Woolen, two corners I guarantee you at home wanted. And on top of that, they have Quandre Diggs and Jamal Adams. Jamal Adams might be a meme, but he's still a good player. And Quandre Diggs is an all-pro. So at the end of the day, are you willing to tell me right now that the Cardinals, despite the fact that, okay, like they made the playoffs last year, and oh yeah, they have Kyler Murray, and oh by the way, they got JJ Watt and AJ Green. Are you willing to tell me right now, especially after the suspension of DeAndre Hopkins, are you willing to tell me right now that the Cardinals are definitely better on paper than Seattle? Because I don't think they are. I think Seattle's the better team. And right around this point last year, I was telling you why Seattle was going to fall off a cliff and why they're not a playoff team and why they're going to go 7-10, and they did. I seem to have a hold on Seattle. And I'm going to say right now, I don't think Seattle's going to be great. But if Drew Lock is average, Seattle is going to roast the Arizona Cardinals over an open fire. And the Cardinals are going to be in the bottom of this division. Look at who they have to play next year. Like, look, the Cardinals, this is another thing that's not pointed out enough. Guess who came in second? Okay? Take a guess who came in second. Think about this. I'm going to look up their schedule or who they're going to play in 2022. But hint, the Cardinals. The Arizona Cardinals next year, okay? Arizona Cardinals are going to have to play. I mean, this is crazy. They're going to have to play the Rams twice. They play the 49ers twice. They play the Seahawks twice. I could see them going 0-6 in that. I could see them going 2-4. Okay. They have to play the Saints, the Buccaneers, the Chiefs, the Chargers. Okay, they play the Falcons and Panthers, the Broncos, the Raiders, the Patriots, the Eagles, the Vikings. Where are the wins on this schedule? Where are the wins on this schedule for the Cardinals? Where? How many games is this team even winning? Like, for real. I understand the Cardinals aren't just going to be like, oh, like, they're not going to win any games. They still have talent. I'm not saying they don't, but like, who are they beating? They beat the Rams on some fluke game earlier in the season. But I mean, are they beating the Chiefs? They're going to US Bank Stadium to play the Vikings. I think the Vikings are the sleeper team that no one's talking about. The Eagles? Do you know how good the Eagles look right now? Getting A.J. Brown, getting Jordan Davis in the draft. I like what the Eagles did. The Patriots, I mean, maybe they beat the Patriots. Seattle, they might split one of them. I don't think they're beating the Rams either time they face them. They can't beat them at home, and then the one time they beat them at SoFi, I mean, you think that they're going to beat them again? San Francisco? Really? Oh, how about this one? This one's my favorite. Empower Field at Mile High. You think that they're going to go to Denver and beat Russell Wilson, who they notoriously don't play well against? The new and improved Broncos? Okay, they beat the Falcons, sure. They beat the Carolina Panthers. They're going to beat the Chargers? Are you kidding me? Have you seen the defense? You think the Cardinals are going to beat that team? Kansas City? Oh yeah, Tampa. Yeah, they're going to beat Tom Brady. I'm sure about that one. Good one. The Saints. Maybe? I mean, I just don't... The Cardinals are that team that could literally fall right off a cliff. Like, they could look really bad next year. I mean, it could be bad. I spent a lot on this question. I do apologize, but it's been on my mind. I just don't. What is the appeal with Arizona? What is the appeal? I mean, I just don't feel like they have a good front office. They're letting their quarterback hold them over an open fire. And, I mean, their rosters, at the end of the day, I mean, I will clip this rant. I promise you that. But, like, what am I missing? Can somebody, like, tell me what I'm missing with the Arizona Cardinals? I had the same thing with the Seahawks last year. It's really weird. I, like, kept seeing all these people talking about the Seahawks. And I was like, why? Because Russell Wilson, like, this team is not going to, like, you guys can't protect him. And now here I am, I'm saying the same thing. Not that they can't protect Kyler Murray. I think they can protect Kyler Murray. I think that their offensive line's pretty good. But I don't know, man. What I see is that Arizona's going to come in last place in the FC West. I see a ridiculous road ahead, having to play the Rams, the 49ers, the Seahawks all twice, the Chiefs, Chargers, Buccaneers, the Eagles, the Vikings, the Saints. I see the Broncos, the two winnable games that they have, the two most winnable games they have, Falcons and Panthers. And, like, we don't know. Are the Panthers going to be for real? Like, are they just going to come out of the blue and shock everybody? Are the Falcons going to come out of the blue? Should I even be writing off the Falcons? We don't know. But those are the two games where I look at them and I'm like, Arizona should win those. Everyone else, I mean, like, maybe they split one against Seattle. But think about this. Seattle has the better running backs. They have the better wide receivers. They have the better tight end. Sorry, Noah Fant's better than both tight ends. I don't care that you have two good ones. Noah Fant is better than both. He's better than Ertz, and he's better than a guy that hasn't played down in the NFL, and Trey McBride. Okay, moving on. Seattle has the better offensive line. Wow, I can't believe I just said that. Times have changed. Seattle is the better interior defensive line. Oh, we have J.J. Watt. Congrats. He's like a $15 million paperweight. What do you want? Linebackers, I'll give the edge to Arizona for sure because, I mean, you got Isaiah Simmons and Zaven Collins. Definitely Arizona there. Edge, I'll go with Seattle. I mean, they got talent there. They just had Boy Mafe. I like Seattle's talent there. And then, corners, I mean, it's kind of a stalemate here, but I think Seattle added a lot more in the draft. I mean, going out and getting Kobe Bryant and Tariq Woolen, I mean, I think that's going to be huge. Safeties, come on. Budda Baker's great. Okay, I like Jalen Thompson for what he is. But Cardinals fans are trying to tell me they have better safeties than the Seahawks do. The Seahawks have two all-pro safeties. Like, the Seahawks probably have the best safeties in the division. As much as we love the Rams safeties, you would take Quandre Diggs and Jamal Adams. Like, let's not kid ourselves. Again, I know Jamal Adams has become a meme, but... So, again, to the Cardinals, why? Like, oh, yeah, the Cardinals, I have them going to the Super Bowl. Why on earth do you have them going to the Super Bowl? Why? What are you seeing from this team? You got a quarterback and a head coach that notoriously fall off when it matters the most. And the team is the least talented team in their division. I just don't get it. Like, what are you seeing that I'm not? So, yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah, honestly. The Lions probably have an easier schedule, too. Man. I know it kind of derailed our Q&A, but it's been on my mind, and I haven't gone live in a while. So it was fun to actually be able to rant about this in front of a camera. Because I don't know. Hopefully you guys are memeing some of these. I'm sure I'm giving some meme-worthy or GIF-worthy or whatever-worthy, reactions, facial expressions during this, because I don't know. I don't know, man. I would say I'm higher on Trey Lance. I love Desmond Ritter, but I think Trey Lance is one of the best quarterback prospects I have ever evaluated. And Trey Lance, sorry. Ritter, Ritter's the best of this draft class, but like, would Ritter have been ahead of like Zach Wilson for me last year? Probably not. Like, Zach Wilson was my fourth quarterback. I would probably go, because last year I had Lance, Fields, Lawrence, Wilson, and then I had Davis Mills at 5, Mac Jones at 6. So, I mean, if I was, like, honestly, Ritter's ahead of Mills, I think, as a prospect, but I wouldn't put him ahead of Zach Wilson. So I'd have him as 5 last year. I really like him, but I like him, like, this draft, he was QB1. He wouldn't have been QB1 any of the drafts I've scouted before. Like, he wouldn't have been ahead of Kyler. He wouldn't have been ahead of Haskins. He wouldn't have been ahead of Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Josh Rosen. Like, he wouldn't have been ahead of those guys. That's not to say that those guys are better players. Like, obviously, Josh Rosen, I don't think is going to have as better of a career. I don't think he's going to have a better career than, Ritter, because Ritter would have to fall off a cliff. But, yeah, that's kind of the best way I could put that. Let's see. I can't see the Rams struggling at all. I really think that they're going to dominate. I really think that they're going to have a really good season. I agree. It was the perfect fit for him. I loved Atlanta's draft, man. You talk about getting him and Drake London, and they get Dominique, or not Dominique. They got, what's his name? I totally forgot his name. Man, it's funny. Once the draft ends, I start to forget the guys' names. It's as weird as that sounds. The edge defender from WKU. Oh man, someone's got to help me out. I can't remember him. He was in my first mock draft. Mosley? No. Damn it. I'm going to have to look it up. It's like, as soon as the draft ends, I start losing some guys' names from my head. Or I start calling guys the wrong names. Brain fog, man. Well, I liked Ebiketie, but that wasn't it. They got Troy Anderson, too. Forgot about him. Second. So they got my number 1 quarterback, my second linebacker, D'Angelo Malone. And they got Algier. Yeah, D'Angelo Malone, man. The Falcons freaking killed the draft, and I just have not heard about them enough. It's really weird. Am I ready for Doctor Strange 2? Absolutely. So ready for it. Yeah, I'm going to do a film video of Durant next week, I think we'll do, next Friday. So look out for that. Probably going to schedule that next Friday. I'm excited for Pickens. Excited for Calvin Austin. The Steelers low-key had a really good draft that no one's talking about. They get, look, Pickett was my third quarterback, but he was the most NFL ready, I thought, him or Ritter. Pickett could come in day one and play. If they really like him more than Trubisky, I just kind of want Trubisky to get an opportunity. I like him, and I think he's gotten a bad draw, but, I could see Pickens being like a wide receiver 1 right out the gate and them trading Deontay Johnson early on because they just don't feel like they're going to be able to sign him with the Amazon money coming next year. Because keep in mind, while a lot of teams will have a lot of cap next year because of the Amazon deal, a lot of teams are going to get hosed because a lot of these, wide receivers are going to want to get paid. So if Deontay Johnson goes into free agency and makes $28 million, a whole round of wide receivers are going to want to get more money. So that's how that works. No idea when the extensions are coming. This is an intriguing ask. I could do this, potentially. We'll see. It's hard because Troy Hill didn't really play the role he's going to play in LA this time around. I think he played a different role when he was with the Rams the last time. I think they're going to ask him to do more this time around. It just shows you they don't know what they're doing at all, period. They just don't. They don't get it. Like, you have Rondale Moore. Use him. He's already got a 100-yard game under his belt. The guy can clearly play in the league. I tend to do that here and there. Yep, exactly. That's the thing. He's just a one-trick pony. Yeah. That whole thing with Malik Willis. I understand what Tannehill is saying. I probably just wouldn't have said it like that. I would probably stay away from J.J. Watt. He just doesn't... He can't stay healthy. No. Boom will be the left tackle. Alaric Jackson has a chance to be the right tackle if they don't bring back Havenstein. Whenever that... I think it's at the end of the year, honestly. He becomes a free agent. I don't remember, but... You guys are so into the schedule release. I mean, some of you are asking us to do like a schedule release show. Am I the only one that doesn't really care that much about the schedule release? Like, it's cool and all, but like I just don't really... I'm not like dying for it. Like, I don't watch it. I just wait for it to release on Twitter. You know? I don't watch the show or anything like that. Well, I try to make a compelling case about any argument I'm doing. They do. They got a very difficult schedule. That was the thing. They had the hype, and then they didn't really add on to it. Like, their big get was Zach Ertz, which I think helped, but I don't know. Probably. Yes, hit the like button if you haven't already. It does help me out. Is he? I don't know. I don't know about that. There's rumors. Nothing is guaranteed except for the fact that what's his face is definitely in it. The Amazon money, baby. Somebody gift the hell out of that. Yes. Oh man. Oh, brings me back to when I was like 6 years old and that movie came out. Playing the PS1 game that my parents got me. And by the way, the Spider-Man PS1 game is like goated forever. So if you guys have never played it before, there's a playthrough on YouTube. It has all the cutscenes and everything. You got to go and check it out. It's such a great game. But yeah, I was watching, I'm playing that. I'm watching the 90s animated series. And then all of a sudden they drop what is just mind-breaking, mind-bending to me. Seeing Spider-Man live action movie. It just was like way ahead of its time, for me anyway. And I'll never forget it because Spider-Man was always my favorite. And, when that dropped, I was like, oh my God. I've seen it over 1,000 times, easily. It's one of my all-time favorite movies. My favorite is No Way Home, which I don't own many movies. I think I own like 5 movies total. Like, me personally, not my family, not like, oh, well, we have some in the cabinet. No, like, as far as, since all of that, download digital, I think I own like 5 movies, and I did have to buy No Way Home, so I do own that. Hey Jake, what do you think of Elliot Donald, Aaron Donald's nephew? Could you see us keeping an eye on him, or is it not worth it? Would be amazing for both of them to play on the same team. Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen a film on him, so it's hard to say. And Has he played college football yet? I think this will be his first year, if I'm not mistaken. I would never rule it out, but I don't know. Darvin Ham, I'm thinking is gonna be the next head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. Based on what I was reading, that seems like the guy that's getting a lot of praise from the players. Um, he's an assistant right now with the Bucks, but he was with the Lakers in 2011 through 2013. He won a championship as an assistant last year with the Bucks, and as a player, he actually beat the Lakers, I believe, with the Detroit Pistons. I think Darvin Ham is going to be the head coach. I'm putting it out right now. Um, you get some young blood in there, age 48. I don't know. I that's kind of where I'm leaning. I know that the Hornets are gonna like interview him at some point because I know they're interested in him. I don't think we're not gonna end up getting Nick Nurse, but I could see Darvin Ham as the guy. Yeah, the Spider-Man movie was spectacular. Spectacular. It's funny, that's the word I use. Spectacular Spider-Man. What is that, by the way? Because I saw the 1990 series, and it's one of the greatest TV shows I've ever watched. Period. I put it in my top 5 all time. So if you think Spectacular's better, I gotta watch this. I gotta watch the old one, like the 60s, I think it is, or the 80s. I don't know. I'm gonna watch that soon. Yeah, I think the rate. Yeah, I mean, honestly, yeah, I think that would have made a lot of sense. Um, I mean, I think their first down run proficiency. I mean, at the end of the day, I think you can only repair that one way, and that's going out and getting guys that can help you run the football. And they did that with Kyron Williams, and they did that with Logan Bruss. Bruss is going to help you at right guard, and Kyron Williams can help you run. Um, he can carry the ball. So I'm really, now that they've gotten Kyron Williams, I'm starting to think they're going to use some split back formations and things like that. So that's the hope. I'm hoping they do it, but I'm really starting to think that. No, I think it's going to be the Bills, and I think there's multiple sources saying it'll be the Bills. I said it will be the Bills like long before it came out because I just felt it make the most sense, but yeah, I think it's going to be the Bills. How do you think we match up with the Chargers when they come? I mean, that game is going to be crazy, I think. You know, I could see the Rams winning that game close, but I do think it's going to be a fun game. Yes, exactly. The X-Men movie's great. I just felt like the X-Men movie didn't really feel Marvel though, you know? Whereas Spider-Man felt like the beginning of like Marvel. Not the cinematic universe, but like Marvel. Um, and I think part of it is because X-Men is kind of a dark film. X-Men is a dark series, which I love. By the way, I think First Class is probably the best one. I think it has um, I just so many quotes in that movie, scenes where you're like, what did I just watch? But X-Men's dark, and I feel like Spider-Man's vibrant. Like even when people are dying, and let's be honest here, Green Goblin probably kills 100 people in that movie, and you never think in the back of your head you're like, Green Goblin just murdered 100 people. Like you don't really think that. And I like the dark too, but I'm just saying I feel like it's more vibrant and it feels more like Marvel never really feels dark to me. Um Days of Future Past is certainly up there. Phenomenal way to retcon. That's one of the greatest retcon jobs I've ever seen. And Brett Ratner should be nowhere near anything comic booky or anything like that again after what he did with, The Last Stand movie. It was ridiculously bad, but yeah, I think Keanu Reeves will play in the MCU in a secret role. I think Ghost Rider would be cool. It's hard to tell. Like, what does a secret role mean? This is Keanu freaking Reeves. I don't want him in some, like, background actor. I want him to be in a legit role. So, like, what does, like, that mean, I guess we'll find out. Sam Raimi is a legend. I can't wait to watch this film. I think it's going to be fantastic. I think people are going to hate it that are very, like, kid-friendly, that don't want violence and, like, too much violence and, like, dark and horror. And I heard this is going to be very horror-esque. So, it is horror as Disney and Marvel will make it. But I think that'll still be a lot of fun. And keep in mind, Sam Raimi directed Drag Me to Hell. Let's not forget about that. Same here, Nolan. Adam Steele. Good question, man. This week, really just going to do these live streams. Going to be on the Call-In app. If everyone could do me a favor and head over to the Call-In app right now and subscribe to Rams Edge with Jake Ellenbogen. Would really appreciate that. The link is in the description. I'm trying to get as many people on that app because as soon as I go live tomorrow, you all will be notified I'm going to live. And the reason you would like Call-In, the reason it's different than my other shows, I got Downtown Rams podcast with Alexis. We do JE Live on this platform. Also do Downtown Rams podcast. Always drops on this platform too. But Rams Edge is essentially radio that you can call in. It's pretty opening for you guys. So, if you guys like to talk, if you guys want to be a part of the action and not just listen, the Call-In app allows you to do that. So my show is essentially a fan interaction show. Tomorrow we'll be covering, are the Rams done making moves? That'll be the general title of the show. And I'll say this, our schedule right now, the way it's going to be until further notice, is Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday for the Call-In Rams exclusive show. So, yeah. Why is it so many jokes? Why is that always the case? I agree. Yeah, Nolan, why is it always the case? And I guilty pleasure of mine, I actually didn't mind Green Lantern. I wanted to see a second one because I was really, oh crap. Never mind. It was my aligner case that just fell out of my pocket. I wanted to see the second one because I wanted to see Sinestro be full-on evil. But, because at the end, they actually had end credits, believe it or not, at the end of a DC film. I know, fall on the floor shocked, because I was. But, I don't know, man. It's definitely a guilty pleasure of mine. But it is the laziest critique for MCU movies. I totally agree with you. I don't know, for whatever reason, the way it is that, and something just flew in my eye or something. Sorry about that. But the way it is like, people are like, oh, well, it's either this. Oh, it's too family friendly. There's too much comedy. There's too many quips. There's too many one-liners. Or my favorite of all of them. When you really think about it, Marvel movies are literally all the same. They have the same premise. It's just dressed up in a different movie every time. There's a plot that starts off good, then it has some adversity that they go through, and then it's always a happy ending. And I'm like, dude, did you see Infinity War? That was a happy ending to you? And you could literally justify every movie or most movies like that. I mean, think about this. Take Joker, for instance. If you were rooting for Joker, if you wanted him to absolutely lose his mind, if you wanted him to, be happy at the end and smiling, then yeah, you could do that. Chris Rams, I have a pact on the JE Live Q&A shows that I answer any question as long as it's appropriate. So, if you have a question on the Rams, Chris Rams, then we can definitely chat about that. Oh, I think you did actually. Did you hear about the Cam Akers and OBJ jersey dispute? OBJ call out Cam about the jersey, which means he was planning on staying with the Rams. Yeah, I don't know how much I look into that, but I don't think it was that big of a deal. OBJ I think will be back, like I've said, but it's definitely not a guarantee for sure. I hate Brett. Yeah, same. I hate Singer too, Loki. Singer's all right. He's not all that bad. Infinity War ending was the best in my opinion. Infinity War, after Endgame comes out, there's an added layer to it where it's just a masterpiece. But the fact that you're left with that cliffhanger for like a year until the next one was absolutely brutal. Like, yeah, did you like my I'm assuming with the bruh, you liked my reaction, my imitation of somebody. I don't know why. Every time I imitate somebody who sounds stupid, I always end up sounding like Patrick Starr. But that's just the way we're doing things. See, I like Sinestro because I think that I don't know if it was on purpose or not, but they kind of made it look like he wasn't going to turn bad until like the very end. Drag Me to Hell movie ending still horrified me. Julio, don't get me started. I'm about to go and watch that movie. I haven't watched a horror movie in so long. I used to literally watch 2 horror movies a night. I've just been so busy with the draft. Honey Badger went to the Saints. It's amazing how many times DC movies flop and Warner just keeps charging ahead like they're anomalies and not just horribly directed movies. Yeah. I wonder if Keanu Reeves is being cast as Silver Surfer. That would be something else. Eternals was hot garbage. Yeah, so Eternals, I was definitely disappointed in because I felt like that was hyped up to be so amazing. And I was just kind of left thinking it was a really ordinary film. There was a lot to be desired there. Yeah. Yeah, they're saying it's a horror film. I don't think it's going to be like The Goat over there. I don't think, and Nolan will appreciate this, I don't think we'll get any Jesse screams or anything like that from from Nightmare on Elm Street, but, you know. I think it's gonna be like a psychological thriller horror type. I mean, this is gonna be a different feel to a Marvel movie, and I think we're all ready for that, in my opinion. I actually liked Apocalypse. I'm not gonna lie, I did. But man, they really built up that Apocalypse thing at the end of Days of Future Past. That was impressive. I really dig that. Days, have you got a chance to dive into Horizon Forbidden West yet? It's absolutely amazing. So, all right, here's the deal, guys. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but if you haven't noticed, I have stopped gaming. Now, I'm not done gaming forever, but my gaming channel is like, I'm pretty sure you can see, the tumbleweeds going on over there. I mean, I just don't really use it as much as I want to. I haven't had the interest in gaming lately because the draft, but we are coming up soon where I think I'll be able to get back into the gaming. As far as Forbidden West goes, we will see. This guy just kills me, man. The Jesse screams are in the ending credit scene per source. Of course they are. Uh, I'll be disappointed now if they're not. I'm gonna come at you on Twitter and say mean things and that you smell. But no. With the gaming, Horizon Forbidden West is definitely on my radar days. It's so hard because I still need to beat Elden Ring. So it's tough. I really want to give that a shot. Luckily, there's just not that many good games coming out this year. You got Forspoken's coming out on my birthday in October. God, I'll be 27 years old. And then I think November is when Hogwarts Legacy comes out. I might be playing that a lot, okay? I'm a big fan of the Harry Potter world and the Harry Potter universe, and the idea that I get to play in it is really cool. So I'll probably be playing Hogwarts Legacy a lot when that comes out. But yeah, the gaming channel right now, it's not dead. It's just kind of on a hiatus because of the draft, which I think we all kind of realize that, the same people that check in over on JE Gaming all the time, they're the people that are on here. So I'm sure you guys are okay with it, but I will be back there. I just want to let you guys know I will be doing that. It's just I'm taking a little bit of a break from gaming. You're too kind, Alex. It definitely was not popping. I thought it was doing pretty well. We were slowly but surely moving up. I just think I got to get more into the flow of things. But the deadliest thing will be these Doctor Strange Multiverse Madness spoilers. Yeah, I'm trying to stay away from them. But I have a platform on YouTube. So because I'm on YouTube a lot, I know I'm bound to see some stupid thumbnail, total spoiler. Evil Dead game looks really cool. I gotta watch that Ash vs. Evil Dead series on HBO or whatever it is. Yeah, I agree. I really do I liked Apocalypse. I understand why people didn't. If you were putting together the next Spider-Man trilogy for Tom Holland's Spider-Man, what would be next for him in the storylines be also villains you would use? Oh, this is such a good question. Yes, it's Dr. Dingus who is here to ask other amazing questions. All right. I'm going to have some fun with this. Let's see. Matinee tickets for Sunday morning or Saturday morning. Good luck waiting, man. Good luck. I don't know how you do it. I got tickets on Thursday because I'm not going to have that thing spoiled for me. So yeah, let's go. I'm going to give you a legit answer on this. I love this question. What would I have plans for the trilogy? So off the top of my head, I've been thinking about this a little bit, but off the top of my head, I'm going to get an interesting little, not a Sinister Six going, but I want this little let's move away from Cosmic. Let's move away from those crazy villains, right? And let's just go to the bare basics in Spider-Man 4. Let's bring in Kingpin like Nolan is saying, okay? Let's bring him into the equation. I want this to be a Daredevil crossover, okay? So have some Daredevil in there, Jessica Jones, but not too much, just a little bit, touch on it a little bit. I want them to tease Venom throughout the entire movie. Just show little pieces of that symbiote slowly traveling. But I don't want to see a Venom in Spider-Man 4. That seems way too obvious, and I don't want to see it. So, let's take a break from the aliens a little bit. Let's take a break from the crazy villains. Let's go back to the basics. Bare bones. We're going with Kingpin. Kingpin is going to take over the new building that was originally the Stark Tower. He bought the Avengers Stark Tower, whatever. So now it is his building. He now is running this huge operation. We could say drugs or whatever, but he's running this huge operation and he's laundering all these weapons, which actually ends up tying into the Falcon Winter Soldier thing that's going on because and hear me out when I say this, you got to follow me here. He and Carter, not Peggy Carter, but her, I forget her. I mean, I totally forget her name, and I don't know why. But you guys know what I'm talking about. So Sharon, there we go. Sharon Carter. So Kingpin buys that. And then Sharon Carter at the end of Falcon Winter Soldier's like got the weapons, like she's got the trust in the government. So her and Kingpin are teaming up. It also ties into Hawkeye. So we've already tied into 2 Disney Plus shows. Still keeping it MCU, but not making it massive. And keep in mind, no one knows who Spider-Man is, right? No one knows Peter Parker's Spider-Man at this point because of the events of the Third. So you have Kingpin doing that. And then Kingpin is going to have Hammerhead. And I think Hammerhead, you could make a horror movie Spider-Man out of Hammerhead. And I think we're going to bring in one more character, a little alliance here, villain. We're going to go back a little bit, and we're going to go to, and I totally forgot the guy's name. I can't believe I just forgot the guy's name. The Spider-Man villain. Oh my God, what was his name? So we got Hammerhead, we got Kingpin. I'm trying to think. He's got the white skin. Tombstone. There we go. Yes, Lonnie Lincoln. He's the African-American albino who's a hitman and a mob enforcer. So we're going to have Tombstone, Hammerhead, and Kingpin. So essentially what this does is it gives you layers. It gives you added depth to the story. It shows you that Spider-Man now can still deal with, because the biggest issue is when you go up against all of this, cosmic crap, right? When you're Spider-Man and you've already been a part of the Infinity War and Endgame, and you fought like Electro and Doc Ock and Green Goblin, at some point you're like, all right, like you gotta make it a little bit smaller and find a way to still make it somewhat watchable. So I think that if they took it, went bare bones, stripped it down to Kingpin, keeping that connection to Sharon Carter, and then you have Daredevil, showing up as part of that connection to Kingpin, and then you have Tombstone in there with Kingpin, and on top of that, Hammerhead. I think that could be done well. Then you have this huge fight. Yeah, the bridge fight with Mysterio was great. Then you have this huge battle at the end, where, Kingpin has Hammerhead and his henchmen and all of his henchmen, and then they introduce Tombstone. And I understand Tombstone isn't considered a top-notch character, and he's really just a hitman, but they can make Tombstone, like, badass in the movie. And, I really think if you had those 3 guys, this would be, the moment where, all of a sudden you put, like, MJ in danger at the end, start to get them closer together a little bit, and then I think that would be the movie. Like, you focus on those 3 bad guys, you take down them, show Spider-Man can handle it on his own with a little bit of help from Daredevil, maybe even throw some Frank Castle in there, played by John Bernthal, but not too much, obviously, because you don't want that to be the only thing. So I think you throw some characters in there, like a Jessica Jones, a Daredevil, but not too much where it takes away from the accomplishments of Spider-Man, because this is his first movie being out on his own. Like, he's not with Tony Stark tech anymore. He's not, linked to the Avengers. They don't know so, like, that's kind of the deal there. And then the 5th movie, I think, is when you start to see that Venom unfold. And Venom is taken over by Flash Thompson, who's recast as somebody who obviously looks more like Venom. So you have that. So it's a big Venom versus Spider-Man, that whole arc. I think they go with the same type of thing in Spider-Man 5, where, Peter Parker gets a symbiote, and Tom Holland, you do kind of this weird thing where Tom Holland is starting to get, his Spider-Man's getting closer to MJ to the point where they actually start dating again. And then that kind of rips them apart, like, because his attitude, obviously changes with the symbiote. And so MJ and him, like, break up or whatever, and then he goes with Ned, or she goes with Ned. So then Ned and MJ end up becoming a thing. Ned is looking like more, like, more grown up, so to speak, because at this point we're in the 5th movie. So then MJ and Ned are a thing, and Peter takes it out on Ned one day because, like, the symbiote gets to him, so he, like, beats the crap out of Ned. So he has to deal with this now that the 4th one was like, you pass the test, like, you can work on this on your own, but then you find this roadblock, which is this symbiote. And then all of a sudden now you're fighting like, Ned, and obviously you have all the stuff in mind, but you never got closer to Ned. Ned starts finding out that you were his best friend. And he then kind of lashes back out. So it's kind of it's a switch, right? It's more of like a bait and switch here, where you have Flash Thompson, who was going to be like Agent Venom, and Flash Thompson, it's just a bait and switch, because then, Peter Parker gets the symbiote and Flash Thompson's nothing. And then all of a sudden, Peter Parker gets rid of the symbiote, and then it goes to Ned. And now Ned has the symbiote. He's got MJ, and he knows that Peter did all of that stuff. They were best friends, and he decided not to rekindle their friendship, but he went against his word and actually went after MJ. So that's the thing. So then I think with that, you have the added hatred with Ned from that perspective. He becomes Venom, and then you have them square off. That's the movie. I think they could get that done. Post-credit scene, I think you start to see something like, the Avengers. I think, maybe, Loki or somebody comes into it, and, Spider-Man 6 is kind of the fallout from the big next, Avengers movie. So then Spider-Man 6, now that Peter has gone through everything in the first 3 movies, he's gone from the idea of having to lose everybody, like not knowing who he is. He's gone from having to lose his best friend and basically take down his best friend. And, he's had to take down an entire mafia gang, with Kingpin and Hammerhead and, Tombstone. And now in the 6th one, this is when the Spider-Verse really takes hold. This is the last one. This is where it's going to make people upset, but this is where I would kill off Tom Holland's Spider-Man, because I don't think he'd be back for another one. You had the big Avengers, movie, Avengers 5, before this. This is his sending off, but I wouldn't let the fans know that. So then all of a sudden, in this 6th Spider-Man movie, you have Spider-Man who's really showing he's done all this stuff. And now, finally, after people have been begging for it, we finally get Miles Morales. And this is the big movie where it's the Spider-Verse. You get Miles Morales, you get 2099, you get Moon Knight, you get all sorts of guys coming into this one. But I think that there is a huge battle at the end between, the Tom Holland Spider-Man, we know and love. And I'm going to say it right now. I think it's going to, have the Beyonder. I think we're looking at that type of deal where we're looking at from the animated series, we're looking at the Secret Wars, and whether that's the next, Avengers movie or not. Actually, let's just say that's the next Avengers movie. So it's very Secret Wars-esque. So I keep seeing the comments and make me laugh. So the Tom Holland Spider-Man dies in the 6th one. Him and MJ end up rekindling, and they end up getting married, and he dies at the end, saving Miles Morales. And he saves Miles Morales from an alternate universe version of himself, which is actually the alternate universe of himself if he ended up never, using his powers for good, if he wasn't a good kid, like if he basically the anti-version of himself in the future. Very similar to the 90s animated series. But instead it's Miles Morales. So, he is about to kill Miles Morales, his old, like the alter ego version. And so then Peter gives himself up, saves Miles Morales. Morales ends up beating the alternate version, and Miles Morales then becomes the face of the franchise for however long they want to take it. I think this is one where you will see with the video game, like the upcoming video game, Marvel Spider-Man 2, I think it's going to be very Miles Morales, like grooming driven. I wouldn't introduce Miles Morales. You could introduce him in the 4th or 5th one, but I wouldn't make it apparent that he is going to be the next guy and like really build him up as such until the 6th. and then I would pass the torch on. I would have Najee Jeter playing Miles Morales, who was Miles Morales in the video game. And I understand people would want, I forget, Brown, I think is his last name, Miles Brown, if I'm not mistaken, the one that voiced him in the animated. But I just think, like, if they did that, I'd be all for that. So to answer your question long, to summarize it, the fourth one, I'm going to have Tombstone, I'm going to have Kingpin, and I'm going to have Hammerhead. And Spider-Man's going to take down this big mafia with the help of Jessica Jones, Daredevil, Punisher. Not too much help, but a little bit of help. The fifth one, I'm going to have him really battling the symbiote. There's going to be a bait and switch from the Agent Venom, Flash Thompson Venom, towards Ned. Ned's going to find out after, Peter and MJ break up that, he actually chose MJ. He chose to go back and get to know MJ and didn't actually try to have a relationship with Ned. So he's going to beat the crap out of Ned. And, with the symbiote, once Ned becomes like MJ's love interest, and then Ned's going to get the symbiote and go beat the crap out of him. So there's going to be that like turmoil. And then the sixth one is going to be following Avengers 5, which is probably going to be like Secret Wars. And it's going to be the end of Tom Holland's Spider-Man, where it's all about really grooming Miles Morales, his final send-off, saving Miles Morales, and keeping him going into the end. That is how I would do the next trilogy. I don't know how they will do it. They'll probably incorporate Fantastic Four. They'll probably incorporate a lot of those. I would... That's probably what I would put, to be honest with you. But I mean, I could go on and on and on. It's just off the top of my head, on the spot, I think that's probably the best I could give you. And I see Dingus is throwing, did you use Mr. Negative Feast was introduced an Easter egg in No Way Home, would tie into Aunt May's storyline. So I didn't say Mr. Negative, but I wouldn't mind him being utilized in the sixth film. I would really isolate it to be a Venom symbiote type of film in the fifth one. But the sixth one, yeah, I could see that. It would be very Spider-Verse driven, the Beyonder, Madam Web, all of that. But I think that's how I would do it. Oh my God. That would be amazing. That would be so amazing. I would love it. I love Moon Knight. I love the way it's shaping out. I can't wait. It's going to be the season finale is going to be in a little bit over 2 hours. Rehomed. Home makeover. Moon Knight popping up. Home makeover. Home Alone. I'd like to see Kraven too. I just don't know. I don't know. I feel like you can only do so many, right? Like if it's my next, like if I was doing like another, like say I was in charge of the next Batman movie, it would 100% have Hush and Calendar Man. Like I think that would be so dope. Those are the guys I'd be focusing on. I think you can make like, because here's the thing, you can push these guys, okay? It's kind of like, don't knock it till you try it. You guys ever watch WWE? You know how like sometimes they push a wrestler and you're like, well, I didn't think he was a main eventer, but now I think he could absolutely cover the main event. They did that with The Miz. They did that with Daniel Bryan. Like, I mean, sometimes that happens. I remember they pushed Kofi Kingston, dude won the title at WrestleMania. It's kind of the same thing. You're writing a script. Can this guy actually withstand going up here? I don't know if he could be that guy. Well, if Hush was in like a movie, Hush would be one of the best villains in Batman movie history, period. A Hush movie would be insane. And Calendar Man would be freaky, man. They could really pull that off. Um, I'm answering everyone's questions. I mean, I'm trying at least. I'm gonna miss a bunch. YouTube doesn't always show me them; they get pushed down. I try to keep up with it, but I mean, it's a lot. I got a lot of questions. I really do appreciate it. Yeah, Alex. Alex knows. Yeah, I try to answer everyone's questions, and I go off on Jake tangents, and then I clip them. I will be clipping that Arizona Cardinals one for sure. Hobgoblin could definitely see it. I'd like to see Disney's MCU use Hobgoblin, Scorpion, the Chameleon. The Chameleon would be really cool. Black Cat, yes. I really feel like they could, but here's the thing. You have to understand, and this might be detrimental to the story, this might not, but there's this fandom. There are people that don't even like Spider-Man that love Zendaya so much that they will watch this film and love it. And I think as soon as you take Zendaya out of the equation, especially now that Tom Holland and Zendaya are like actually a couple, I feel like you'd lose a lot of fans. I'm not saying you'd lose everybody, but I feel like people would not like that. But Felicia Hardy would be awesome. I really wish they would have just cast, and I think it would be funny because if you guys ever watch Euphoria, Zendaya is the main character, and Sydney Sweeney is one of the really good supporting characters. I think she'd be a fantastic Felicia Hardy. Nolan's not even going back. Yo, we got Moon Knight in the house. What's up, Moon Knight? Nolan, is it a good thing that Moon Knight knows your name? Oh, man. Yeah, who is Sydney Sweeney going to play in that Madam Web film? Mark and Jake. Do you guys know? Because I know Dakota Johnson is going to be Madam Web. She could be Felicia Hardy, right? I gotta look it up. Like, do they know? That is true. That's true. Yeah. Well, that's also true. They gotta fix it at some point. But maybe the Multiverse of Madness fixes it. Like, what if the finale of the finality of the Multiverse of Madness literally fixes the Peter Parker spell? I mean, we don't know. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. I think we'll be getting some Spider-Man 4 news sooner than later, though. Because I think Multiverse of Madness, people are trying to keep things buttoned up, but same here. I agree. I love the detective focus narrative. Yeah, see, she's probably going to be Black Cat. She has to be. No. Absolutely not. Loki is a fantastic character, and I think they really wanted to reward Tom Hiddleston for all the hard work he did, so they gave him like a solo thing. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, show of hands, I guess. I don't know how you'll do this, but I guess say yes or something in the comment section. How many of you think that the Multiverse of Madness is going to have any effect on Spider-Man, the way we saw him at the end of No Way Home, how many of you think Multiverse of Madness will have any sort of effect on Spider-Man? I'm genuinely curious about that because I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, the show of hands emoji. There we go. Perfect. No effect. Yes. I got 1 for 1. 1, I guess. I agree with that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to say it has some sort of effect on Spider-Man. I don't know if it'll make his life easier, but it'll have some sort of effect, I think. All right. Show of hands. Or actually just say yes or no. Will Spider-Man, and I guess I'm not saying who, so I probably should say who, because I think Tobey Maguire will be in the film. I could be wrong, but I think he will. Will Tom Holland's Spider-Man be in the Multiverse of Madness? Yes or no? And that can also count. The post-credit scene can count. But will we see Tom Holland at any point in the Multiverse of Madness film? We will see Tom Holland. Interesting, Alex. I got a nah from Nolan. I'm genuinely curious because I don't know where to, like, I think it's gonna have something to do with Spider-Man. I don't think it's going to have Tom Holland in it. I think it will have, I don't know if it'll have Garfield just because I think he's taking time away from acting, and well, I guess that doesn't matter. I don't know. It might have Garfield. Spider-Woman would really be interesting. Yeah, I think that's another thing. For people that have seen it already, they've said things like it's not an Avengers level movie. They really focus on Strange and they focus on Wanda. And I think that's good because I think their stories matter. And they're, if you want to build Doctor Strange up to be this Iron Man type of character, you have to start letting him have dialogue. You have to start letting him have a real like path. Um, I think Wanda, I think Vision will be in the movie. If you remember, Vision takes off. The White Vision, he just takes off afterwards at the end of WandaVision. I think he's going where he last remembered because he had all those memories. I think he just took off and went to Wakanda. That's where I think he'll be. Could be wrong. But if you got all those memories, think about it. If you got all those memories, then you had that fondness for Wanda, or you at least know it. Wouldn't you just stay there and not take off? He's going where he died, which was in Wakanda. So, I don't know. That's worth mentioning. WandaVision was confirmed as an end of series. So the finale was a series finale, not a season finale. And Marvel kind of spoiled, or didn't spoil, that Moon Knight was an end, like, in a little bit over 2 hours. It is an end of season and not series. So there will be another season in all likelihood. This is going to be awesome. Can't wait. That's true. I don't think it's gonna have as many people as what has been reported or what has been like rumored about, but maybe it will. Who knows? I don't think it will though. I think a lot of it is like hogwash. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I would imagine we see some variant of Kang. Maybe not. I don't know. But I do know that they pushed up the release date for Ant-Man 3, which says everything to me. They are. They definitely are. I think he's going to be great. Yeah, I Kang is going to be awesome. Ant-Man 3 is going to come out quarter 1 of 2023, which was not in the cards, and now it is. So, they moved it way up. They pushed back the Marvels cuz I don't think a lot of people really care. And I don't think the Marvels is going to even be part of what's going on. I think that's really the issue, is that that's like a separate thing. Like, I mean, I guess you could argue Falcon Winter Soldier is more of a grounded story. Um, but you know that Captain America is going to have a movie. It's going to be Captain America 4 or whatever, and called whatever. And it's going to be starring Anthony Mackie's Captain America Falcon. Young Avengers will be around the corner. So Wanda, I mean, it's weird because she definitely is going to be the main villain by like just when you look at it, I think. Um but I don't feel like she is the main villain, if that makes sense. She'll be doing damage, she'll be taking down people, she'll probably murder people, but I feel like she's going to be controlled by Chthon, or whatever monster she's being controlled by. So, you know, that's what I would say in regards to that. I would understand if, like, Wanda was bad. I wouldn't understand if Wanda was bad without, some sort of influence from the Darkhold. Mephisto's basically a meme at this point. Yeah. You know what I'll say about Mephisto? I think, and here's the funny thing. I think with Mephisto, there's a fine line because, like, what was it? Like, China or was China? I think it was China. Weren't they against, like, the worship of devil? And, like, Mephisto's the devil character, and they didn't want a devil in, like, the movie. But China also, like, had an issue with the Statue of Liberty ban in Spider-Man No Way Home, and they banned it because of that. So I don't know. Maybe Mephisto does actually end up happening. Maybe, like, Disney just finally said, screw it. Like, we don't care what China says. We'll just do it. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I do know that China had an issue. So much so that they literally told Marvel that we will ban No Way Home in China if you don't take the Statue of Liberty out. Which is like, Statue of Liberty literally has, like, a purpose in the movie. It's like the final battle. Like, what are you talking about? I think that's what the leak is, but I don't know. It looks more like a Avengers game Iron Man. Like that silver suit. Yeah, they would. Yeah, Nightmare would be really cool. I think some of this has to do with Nightmare. Chthon is probably behind some of it. I don't know. I mean, it's their loss. More money that they won't be making. I don't know. I never understood that, but do you think Agatha Harkness appears in Doctor Strange or maybe a post-scene credit? She's gotta, because there's a House of Harkness show that's already been confirmed to have, uh, Elizabeth Olsen. So, I mean, Wanda's gonna be in it. So, I mean, there's gotta be some tease. All right, how about this? And this is how we'll wrap up tonight's show. I think it's been a lot of fun. We've had a good time, and yeah, I've really enjoyed this. But I'm going to ask you this final question. I'll go through everyone's answer, as long as you guys have an answer. You get 2 post-credit scenes, because there will be 2. Or mid-credit and then a post-credit. Which 2 post-credit scenes, it doesn't have to be the entire synopsis, but definitely can be. Which 2 post-credit scenes do you think they will drop? And then, as the second part of it, so we'll start off with which 2 post-credit scenes do you think they'll drop? So drop that below. Which 2 post-credit scenes are you expecting to drop? And again, you can just tell me who's going to be in it. You can tell me the whole synopsis. But I'm curious which 2 you think are going to drop. Nick Fury has been MIA. You're right. You are right, my friend. Nolan, you think a Kang post-credit scene? Walls. I'm waiting for y'all. Which 2 post-credit scenes do you think are going to drop? Thor/Loki post-credit, I feel like. Okay. All right. I see you. The brutal Time Lord version of Kang appearing in introduction, tease of mutants, possibly Fantastic Four is my hope. Oh, what's up, Scott? We're doing our final. Yeah, I'm answering the final questions, or you guys are answering my final question, I guess. Which 2 post-credit scenes at the end of Multiverse of Madness do you expect to drop? And then I'm going to ask you 2 that you want after this. Okay, so you think Ghost Rider or Blade, which would be awesome. Another that has to do with space, like setting up Galactus or Fantastic Four. That, something about that feels like that could be it. I think that it's tough, right? I don't know if we're going to get a Spider-Man one. I just would love that. I would absolutely love to add on to that Spider-Man universe, get something there that would make me very happy. And to be honest with you, I mean, let's call it like it is, the Multiverse of Madness. It's a domino effect, because it starts when, Sylvie kills He Who Remains. When she kills He Who Remains, aka Kang, it unleashes all the Kangs. It breaks open the sacred timeline. So it allows Doctor Strange's spell to go out of craziness, because it wouldn't have gone crazy because it would have been determined. There was the sacred timeline. So because the sacred timeline was broken in the Loki show, it allowed Wanda to become the Scarlet Witch, which they were always kind of staying away from, the sacred timeline. And then on the other side of things, it allowed Doctor Strange to screw up the spell, which then broke the multiverse open. And so because of that, there's a lot of this is tied to No Way Home. Because the Multiverse of Madness, I think, is really a direct... I think it has everything to do with the events of No Way Home. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's funny though when they announced What If. I knew that wasn't just a standalone show. I knew that wasn't a ooh this would be fun. Let's do this. No, there. What If is going to bleed into this movie. Maybe not all of it, but certainly some of it. And we already know that Haley Atwell is confirmed to be on the staff there. She is going to play Captain Carter, and she's going to be in the film. It was in the last. It was in the last bunch of credits. So, you know, I'm excited for that. Namor will be in there. I think he's already cast. I didn't know who was the person that was cast, but I do know that he was already cast. One will have to deal with Agatha Harkness, Mephisto, and Wanda's kids. Other will be Kang, Loki, or possibly some Secret Wars setup, which I would love. Yeah, that sounds great. I think that there's a lot of potential truth to that. I guess my thought is, as much as I would love Spider-Man, and I think there's an argument. I mean, none of this happens without the events of No Way Home, um, and I don't think they're gonna fix the multiverse in this movie. So, as much as I would love it to be Spider-Man, I think it's going to be House of Harkness setup. I think it's going to be Agatha Harkness. I think it's going to be Wanda. I think her kids, Vision, all that. Maybe Mephisto, who knows? Nightmare. And then I think the other is going to be very cosmic, because that'll be down on like Earth or something. And I think the other is going to be very cosmic. I think it's going to set up. I don't think it's going to be a Loki one. I don't think it's going to be Thor. I don't think it's going to set up Thor or anything like that. I actually think it's going to set up the next, not Eternals, but it's going to set up the next big. I think it might set up Ant-Man. I could see that, but I could see the next big, because just because Kang is back doesn't mean Kang is going to be the only thing that comes. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess I really don't know. I'm pretty sure there's going to be an Agatha Harkness post-credit, because there's going to be something related to the movie that sets up that. But I think the second post-credit scene will set up something big. Maybe it is just like a giant thing for Kang. I don't know. Maybe the Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't know. But I think it's going to be something cosmic. So, yeah, Kang post. So, yeah, I mean, in a nutshell, I think it's probably kind of a mixture of what you guys think. I was kind of thinking they're going to set up House of Harkness in the first one and then Kang in the second. That seems to be the most logical standpoint. They could set up the mutants. There could be this giant crazy thing where they show Wanda saying no more mutants, and that's why, years ago or whatever, that's why that the X-Men were never a thing. Who knows? Yeah, I mean that's definitely possible. The new Guardians Galaxy movie. Yeah, I mean that's kind of something I was thinking of as well. Yeah, I agree with that. Hear me out, Sinister Six. Professor X also. Yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting tonight. We're now under 2 hours away from the season finale of Moon Knight. We'll see if that has anything to do with anything. There has to be. I mean, maybe I'm crazy. There's got to be a post-credit scene for Moon Knight. We're gonna get about 45 to like 55 minute, episode. I think we're gonna get something is gonna connect, and maybe it's not. Maybe it's totally like I don't know. The Brotherhood. I think for people that want the Sons Midnight Suns. I think they're going to be disappointed. I don't think this movie is going to at all set up the Midnight Suns. I know that they have those plans, like that has been talked about, and I know that that's probably something that's in the works down the line. But introducing the Midnight Suns now wouldn't make really any sense. Hey, appreciate you, Alex. I'm gonna end it here as well. So perfect timing. If they hint to Magneto, I'm leaving the theater on the spot. Hey, what's the big deal? Yeah, no, Midnight Suns, they got plenty of time to use. Like, that's the thing. They have way too much at their disposal. They can't rush this stuff. You know, the multiverse, they can keep this thing going. It's not really milking, but they can keep this thing going for 10 years, 20 years even, if they do it the right way. But you can't do it so much so that you, like, are over the top, you know? I don't see it because now Ingram, if they sign Ingram, then the Chiefs would get one of their compensatory picks because it was one of the rare circumstances they actually signed him to like an original round tender. So the Rams would have to give up a compensatory pick no matter, when they sign him. How long do you think the Rams will take? I don't know. I could see it after training camp. We'll see, but I do think he'll be back, but we'll see how it goes. Um, oh yeah, I love Magneto. I'm hoping Michael Fassbender is back as him. I know he was rumored to be the next Doctor Doom. We'll see. But either way, Michael Fassbender as Magneto. I mean, my God, he was so good. But anyway, guys, it's been real. It's been a lot of fun. I'll clip the Arizona Cardinals rant and maybe some other stuff as well. But that, my friends, is going to do it. For me, I'm Jake Ellenbogen. Be sure to check out the call-in app if you haven't already. I will be live tomorrow night at 9 on the app, answering questions, bringing in callers, and talking about the Rams on Rams Edge. And, I plan on being back on JE Live before that tomorrow night, so look out for me then. We'll have the Logan Bruss film breakdown on Friday. And that'll be that. So appreciate you guys for hanging out with me. Hope you guys enjoy Moon Knight tonight. If I don't see you tomorrow, then I hope you guys enjoy the Multiverse of Madness. And I can't wait until the point where I can actually talk about it because it's going to be a lot of fun. But until next time, I'm Jake Ellenbogen. This has been JE Live, and I will see you guys soon. Later.